Why are you bringing Mexico to protest like Seth Abramson? This is another fucking freak ass lib. This is Mr. Blue Anon himself. I get the impulse to bring a Mexican flag to protest in LA, but the optics for those who love democracy are 100% better. The protesters are waving American flags. There needs to be at least some strategy here, given that Trump's thing is falsely claiming a foreign invasion. Why? Who cares?
Okay, who cares?
Who cares if it feels like a foreign invasion is in your country? Who cares? This is the proof. Just further proof that Hassan is a total idiot who doesn't care about anything that he pretends to care about. It's all just clout sharking and optics.
Yeah, he cares about winning followers and viewers and attention and money. That's all he cares about. He doesn't actually care about winning on the issues.
No.
Not one iota.
No. And I watched his protest excursion. Okay. It was mostly boring. He goes down there. It's like the most obvious, like going down there for clout thing imaginable. Because people are like, oh, why don't you go down? He's like, I am going down to the protest. Now, there were some protests in some shady areas of LA, which maybe would have been a little bit sketchy, but obviously he didn't go to those ones, right?
Oh, of course.
He went to the safer one. And then he went to the protest where they were blocking the highway. Okay.
Yeah, I heard they were going to arrest a bunch of those people, though.
Well, I hope they do, because nothing really sells your movement like blocking a highway. Right?
Oh, yeah. Oh, of course. Yeah.
Totally. And so at first Hassan's just like, he's just looking at everyone else, doing it. And he could get in trouble. And this is why people were talking about maybe he'll get arrested, because he films himself going down onto the highway, going up to the front lines and, participating and blocking the highway.
Please arrest Hassan. Please do it.
It would be pretty funny. I mean, he would totally like, oh my God, the oppression, right? I'm so oppressed. You would sell it, and get a bunch of views off of it. But it would be pretty funny. But then the funny thing about him there was that like literally the second that it seemed like the police were going to start trying to push the protesters off the highway and maybe start arresting people, maybe start tear gassing. Yeah, like the literal second he thinks that it's about to go down, he's just out of there. He books it so quick. I was like, oh my God. I was watching this with Sam and she's like, what he should be there, man. He should be there for the content. He should be getting like tear gas. He should be getting hit with rubber bullets. He should get arrested. That would be great content. And then he could be like, listen, I'm here for the cause, right? But no, the second it looks like maybe things are starting to move down, he just books it right out of there.
That's so funny. That is so funny. Back in the 60s, they used to all get arrested. They used to go down to the police house and all get thrown in the clink for the night. That was a big part of the protest. What happened here?
Yes, I remember. I don't remember what the protest was, but I remember in like 7th grade, my English teacher was complaining there's some people protesting something. And he was like, back in the day, getting arrested was part of the protest. That was part of it. That you got arrested. You would go to jail for your cause. Okay.
Yeah. Yes. You'd suffer.
Yes. People that were protesting for civil rights went to jail. People that were protesting for the women's right to vote would go to jail. That was part of it. You're saying, look at my dedication to the cause. I would spend a night in jail. But now it's like, oh, you just got to book it out, right? You just got to get your social media video and book it out. It was like the amount of people, it was so funny. The amount of people at this protest that recognized Hassan and were like, oh my God, I want a selfie, or oh my God, thank you for coming out here for the cause. Like that's what this is. Okay, don't get it twisted. Don't let anyone get fooled. These people that go out to these completely useless, pointless protests, what it is these are people that have been indoctrinated on BreadTube and socialist content, and they want to feel like they're doing something, so they go out to a protest that makes everyone hate their movement, and then they pat themselves on the back like they did something, like they accomplished something good in the world.
So true. Remember when we talked about how they're going to have video of ICE arresting some poor, innocent family, and everyone's sympathy is going to go towards the movement, and it's going to be a big catastrophe? None of that happened.
No, I know.
They all went out in the streets and decided to burn everything down and fucking break windows and throw rocks and cinder blocks.
I know.
How do you gain sympathy for them? No, fucking lock them all up. Shoot them with rubber bullets. Get them out of here.
It's insane because the way that these like protests started or sparked, what sparked the protests in the first place was that there was a lot of ICE people that were raiding like Home Depot parking lots and were raiding.
Supposedly that's not true. They were staging next to Home Depot, but they weren't picking people up at Home Depot. They were serving arrest warrants for some. I mean, they're digging in deep. Yeah, they're digging into kind of how the people are getting here. So they're going after the top tier people. Yes.
Are you sure? Because I read several articles that said that.
Yeah, I mean, look, I saw it all. News, I saw it all over the place. Yes. Yeah. Well, Tom Homan himself said that they were serving arrest warrants for people who are guilty of money laundering and human trafficking and shit like that.
Yeah, but so is he the only one that's pushing back on it? I mean, he could be not telling the truth.
Okay, well, maybe he's lying, Sitch.
I don't know. I'm just saying,
maybe he's actually lying, and the whole mainstream media is telling the truth. That seems obvious.
That's possible. Well, wait. First of all, it's probably possible everyone's lying. Okay, obviously.
I'm sure everyone is lying. Yes. Look, right. Why are they going after you? You think they're raiding people standing in front of the Home Depot? No, that's the fucking leftist narrative. No, they're going after the big shots, the people who've been moving these people into the country. That's who they want to stop.
Well, they want to stop those people, obviously. Yes.
You think they're already going after the?
Yes, 100%. Wait, because I was reading a bunch of articles.
The nickel and dime border jumpers.
There were supposedly, unless every single article from every single publication, both even Fox News, Wall Street Journal, all these other articles, unless every single one of them just making it up, they were saying that there's all sorts of reports of people getting picked up at Home Depots, people getting picked up at car washes, people getting picked up at garment factories. That they are basically just because. What happened was, and there's a whole article about this in the Wall Street Journal, where they were saying that the Trump administration was upset and they were embarrassed because they couldn't get the numbers high enough that they wanted. They still they needed to, people were like criticizing them. If you remember months ago, people were criticizing them as being less than Biden's deportation numbers. And so that there was a meeting where Stephen Miller was just told, the ICE guy and all these people just go wherever the illegal immigrants are. I don't care where they are. Just go get them. And that's when they started picking up people from Home Depots. That's when they started picking up people they were literally picking people from courts before they even had their hearings. If they were doing some sort of court hearing about their immigration status. And the whole thing is just to get their numbers up as high as possible.
Okay.
So I mean, I
know. Look, I know that is a mainstream media narrative. I definitely know that that's what everyone is saying.
Right. I mean, I would have to see something that would be strongly contradicting that. Besides, that one guy saying that, which I don't think is the most trustworthy source.
Okay, Tom Homan is.
Yes, Tom Homan.
Tom Homan is lying on Fox News. Okay.
What did he say specifically? Because he's probably not lying. He probably phrased it like. Well, he probably said oh, well, we're going after those people, which they're probably going after them, but he's not. Is he saying we're not going after people at Home Depot? We're not.
He said that they were there to deliver arrest warrants for money laundering and human trafficking. I heard somewhere else that they were staging close to the Home Depot, that they weren't actually after Home Depot. They weren't after day laborers at Home Depot. They have a ICE facility that's right next to Home Depot. And the mainstream media went to town saying, oh, they're attacking home. Look, the entire mainstream media was against Kyle Rittenhouse. Okay, what was the narrative on Kyle Rittenhouse? Kyle Rittenhouse was shooting indiscriminately into crowds, fucking terrorizing black people, trying to kill people, right? The entire mainstream narrative was wrong. What I heard was that there was a ICE facility close to Home Depot where they were staging for some big thing where they're going after big people. They had 110 guys that were high ups that were accusing of money laundering. It's they're basically putting together a full-on investigation, which makes sense, right? You go after the people who have brought all of these people into America first, right? You break the distribution chain. So, and look, it makes perfect sense that if you are one of those high ups, where are you going to run to? When all of a sudden it's open season on breaking on mass deportation, you're going to run to fucking Los Angeles. You're going to run to a sanctuary city where ICE is not allowed to operate, right? Where you're safe. So it makes perfect sense that they would come into Los Angeles to break up the higher ups that are moving these people, that are trafficking these people. So
yeah, again, I'm confused as to what what you're saying. I'm not disagreeing that they would go after those people. I'm just saying that the idea that they wouldn't also have to go after non-criminals in order to make the 3,000 deportations a day or whatever the large number is. There's no fucking way that they're going to just be able to get, well, we got 3,000 top people every day for a day that they need to deport the people. It's impossible. There's not enough people. There's not enough criminals that they can find to do that. They're obviously going to have to pick up everyone they can find in order to do this.
And they've said that when they're going after people, if there are other people there that are illegal, who don't have, or in the country illegally, they are obligated to deport them as well, because obviously they could engage in, they can't look the other way. That person will engage in criminal activity 2 years from now and everyone will say, oh, they let them go.
Yeah, but that's okay. But that's what I'm saying. Like when he says, "Oh, well, we're not going to Home Depot," it's like they could find someone. They're like, "Oh, we think this one person here. We have some criminal record about them." They go there and then they arrest like 30 other people that are there.
Yeah,
right?
totally.
So then but so then he'll say like, "Oh, well, we're not specifically going at the Home Depot," but it's like, well, you kind of are. You're just you found one person that you think's in the area that has some arrest warrant or something, and then you say, "Well, we can't turn our back on all the people here," so then they arrest everyone. Right, that would be the tactic that they employ.
The two narratives at war with one another right now are they came to Los Angeles to arrest innocent day laborers at the Home Depot.
Right.
And they're here investigating to break up the criminal human trafficking ring that is responsible for this.
So they're doing both those things.
Yeah, look.
That's what I'm saying. They're doing both of those things. Yes.
Okay, so but the mainstream media isn't obviously not reporting on the second one, right? Because you didn't hear anything about this. I heard about this, yes, but you didn't hear about it.
Everyone is going to focus on the part that aligns with what they want. So the mainstream media is going to focus on only the arrests of the day laborers, and the right-wing media is going to focus more so on we're arresting the human traffickers and the criminals. Right.
Yes.
But in reality, both those things are happening at the same time.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. That's okay. But the reason I was bringing that up was because the point was, when you were talking about like, oh, this, you're going to have the idea of the innocent immigrant family that's arrested and people are going to be more against Trump and all this other stuff. And instead of seeing that, what they saw was, these psychopaths burning shit down, waving the Mexican flag, right? Which is totally just going to make, as a huge optics win for Donald Trump. And it's going to totally make people side with just deport these people and all this other stuff.
Of course, yeah.
Right. And that's my point, is that there was, if these people weren't so selfish and weren't so stupid with how they were protesting and with their actions, there was things that they could have done. And there definitely was, if you looked at the polling for the mass deportations is kind of like, it's close. It's kind of iffy. And a lot of people still are operating, when they've done the polling that I've seen, still believe that the majority of people being deported are criminals. And if that tide on that narrative shifts, then that could definitely push people polling against a lot of the deportations. But that's all going to be for naught if people turn on the news and they see fucking retards burning cop cars and standing on top of them waving the Mexican flag.
In 2 weeks, the polling is going to be completely different. Yes. Because they fucked up so badly. They fucked up so badly. Yes. They're basically making Americans in favor of mass deportation. Right now, Americans are watching these images on their television and thinking, deport them all.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Okay, hold on. There's a Hasan clip here. Further Hasan clip here.
Well, I have the Trump obviously saying to arrest Gavin Newsom, which is hilarious. So I love the fact how the entire mainstream media is acting like Trump is seriously saying basically arrests Gavin Newsom for running for governor. It's like bonkers.
Mm-hmm. Well, here, we'll listen to that. But hold on.
All my stuff is in the playlist, so we could probably find the Tom Homan talking about what they were actually doing as well.
Did you not hear the watch together when I played it?
I heard nothing.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm playing. I have a watch together in a different tab open. So wrong. I was like, what's going on? Okay, hold on.
You have another watch together?
Yeah, because I didn't know if Twitch even worked in the watch together, so I was testing it out.
Oh, I gotcha.
It doesn't work. It works. It kind of works a little janky compared to YouTube videos, but okay, here we go.
You know, these are what the prominent liberals are saying. Yeah, I saw this, and I don't think this is the average centrist liberal's position. I think you'll see your parents take a more aggressive stance than people on Twitter, okay? I admire the courage of people protesting the ICE raids in California. Full stop. That's good. Just say that. The rest is bullshit. Don't need to hear anything else, okay? I'm against violent protests and think they're counterproductive. I also think that nonviolent protests send a more powerful and enduring message. Have long believed in Dr. King's message about using nonviolent resistance.
Look, he's laughing. He's fucking laughing at that. He's laughing at that. That's why everyone is like, just fucking deport them all. Deport them all.
Yes.
Deport them all. I don't want to see him standing out in front of the Home Depot anymore. I don't want to see him fucking on the street. I don't want to see him on the bus. I don't want to see him anywhere. I don't want to see him mowing some dude's lawn. Okay. Deport them all. That's the fucking attitude that people are going to have. If you're like, violent resistance is great. He's laughing at that.
Yeah.
He's laughing at them breaking your windows and burning your cars. He thinks that's hilarious.
Yep.
That said, everyone protesting stays safe. This is a long struggle, and there are many ways to support immigrants beyond what's happening right now in the streets. You can volunteer with pro-immigrant organizations, offer material aid, or even pursue a career in immigration law. I share your anger and believe we can channel this energy into something that makes meaningful change for immigrants. But to do that, you have to stay safe. I don't really care. I don't really care what, dye workwear has to say about how to successfully resist against the fascist administration. Like, I don't
see. He doesn't care about the policy. If Donald Trump came out and cured fucking cancer, he would be like, "I love cancer. Cancer needs to live."
Right. Yeah.
It's totally ridiculous.
It's all about the clout that he generates for his audience. He doesn't care about whether any of this stuff's actually effective. That guy that he's criticizing had another long Twitter post where he was talking about how, he's Vietnamese and his mom brought him here. She was illegal. And I guess he was illegal too because he was a baby when they crossed the border. During the Vietnam War to escape the communists. Okay. They came to America. And so he's definitely like sympathetic to a lot of people's struggles and plights that have brought them to the country illegally. And he's like, okay, let's not, you got to be smart and don't just be destructive. Don't burn shit down. Don't do any of these horrible things. He's someone who's like one of these people. And Hassan, who is an anchor baby, privileged, had a very privileged upbringing, is a millionaire now. He's just like, fuck this guy. What does he know? He's a fucking idiot. You guys should go out there and riot and burn shit down. It doesn't affect Hassan. Nothing that happens affects Hassan. Okay. Hassan's not getting his shit burned down. He's not going to get deported. He's going to have zero impact on this, on his life whatsoever. So yes, obviously it's so easy for him to go out there and to tell his audience because it generates clout for him because his audience is composed of children who want to hear the America bad narrative, who want to hear the burn it all down narrative, because it has no impact on Hassan. He has nothing at stake here when he tells people to go do illegal shit.
Yeah, they're the ones that are going to get in trouble.
Okay, I'm not. But also,
wait, what the? It doesn't work on Twitch very well. Maybe it's because it's so long.
Yeah, Twitch just has this weird thing where it's got 2 play buttons. I don't know if you're noticing that.
Yeah, I see that. Yeah,
and it's also got a separate volume button. So that's why the volume is so low. I was like, what? What the fuck is going on here?
that's interesting.
bringing up.
Which button are
Sorry,
you
I'm gonna
pressing?
put my body in front of a fucking ice bus. So tweeting about how you shouldn't do that from the comfort of your home is irrelevant. It's utterly irrelevant. Okay. If you don't want chaos and you don't want anarchy, and I certainly am not an anarchist, okay? I'm wearing a t-shirt that is my merch. This is Abolish All Borders, but even in spite of that, I am not an anarchist.
Is that not like the perfect symbol of Hasan? He has a shirt that says abolish all borders. That's an anarchist shirt that he sells for fucking money on a capitalist market. And he's like, but I don't actually, I'm wearing this merch. I want you to buy it. I'm going to walk around the protest wearing my anarchist abolish all borders merch, but I don't actually support the message.
Right.
It's like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
What the
he's
fuck?
lying. He's totally lying.
My God. He's just such a grifter. There is a Bernie Sanders tweet. Okay. Bernie Sanders tweeted out, Dr. King defeated racist government officials and ended segregation through disciplined, nonviolent resistance. Defeating Trumpism, oligarchy, and authoritarianism requires that same level of discipline. Violent protests are counterproductive and play right into Trump's playbook. Okay. So that's what Bernie Sanders said in response to all this shit. To which Hassan quote tweeted that and complained about it and said, you were literally there at the nonviolent protests that everyone considered to be violent and unpopular. So I have no idea what this statement does other than to lean into the hysteria that gives Trump enough momentum to mobilize the Marines on U.S. soil illegally. Like,
It's
even
not illegally.
It's not. Yeah. And it's like, even Bernie Sanders, okay, his idol is like, listen, guys, this is stupid. Everyone understands how stupid this is. And he knows. Hassan understands it. He just doesn't care, because if he pointed it out, his audience that he's trained for years, that says like, whenever you talk about, tone policing or optics or whatever, they would eat him alive and he'd be a cuck. That's all he cares about. That's all he cares about.
Democrats controlled Congress for decades. They controlled the House and the Senate for 26 years consecutively. Republicans briefly got the Senate back, and the Democrats won it right back again. So for nearly 40 years, they held both houses of Congress uncontested. I sense that we're on the verge of something like that with the Democratic Party. The Democratic Party just seems...
You mean the Republican Party?
The Democratic Party being locked out of power, the Republican Party
right,
taking over,
yes.
both the House and the Senate. Building a coalition that's going to last decades, because the Democrats seem insane. They seem fucking insane on this. So I don't know what kind of coalition they're trying to cater to, but all of this is just fucking laughable.
If we had
Bernie Sanders is obviously trying to do the right thing. We're talking about Bernie Sanders here, but it's Hassan that is really like these are the people who are empowered in the Democratic Party now.
Yeah, I'd be more inclined to agree with that possibility if the Trump administration was like DeSantis or someone that I felt was more competent to not overreach and to piss everybody off.
But they have that. They have that. That's going to happen.
Right, but then that's going to swing back. The pendulum's going to keep swinging back. Listen, we're only in the beginning of 4 years. The pendulum's going to swing back and forth wildly throughout this 4-year term. So I think this would be hard to predict.
Swing how?
Like people being like in favor of what Trump's doing, and then people being very against what Trump's doing. I'm not sure the Democrats are going to do anything like good that people are going to support.
So there's nothing for that to swing to.
No, there's going to swing from pro-Trump to anti-Trump.
Okay, and then but the Democrats are a non-entity.
Well, not yet, but they're going to, in the next election, I don't know about the midterms, but the next election, they had everyone talking about the Joe Rogan, we need the Joe Rogan left and all this other shit. None of that stuff matters. And I brought this up in previous Sunday streams. If you listen to Pete Buttigieg or Shapiro or any of these other Democrats, and they go on Andrew Schultz's show, they're going to go on Theo Vaughn, they're going to go on all these other
Yeah,
podcasts.
they're trying to sound
okay?
reasonable,
They're going
sensible.
to, that's exactly what they're going to, even
Yes.
AOC, right?
Still in a Pete Buttigieg rapper. So, I mean, I like, it's laughable to think they're going to fucking elect
I
Pete
completely
Buttigieg.
disagree. I completely disagree. They're going to go on these podcasts.
He looks like a fucking garden gnome. You're kidding me, right? He's going to be president of the United States?
Well, I don't think he's going to win, but I'm just saying they're going to go on these podcasts and they're going to sound infinitely reasonable. They could be lying out their ass, okay, as politicians do, but they're going to go on and they're going to sound infinitely reasonable. You can even look when he was on the Andrew Schultz podcast. He has so many positive comments from people on the right. They know how to sell a message. They know how to package things. The people on the right should not get complacent in the fact that they had 4 or really 8 years of Biden and Kamala, 2 politicians who can't speak. That is not the norm. You're going to get Democrat politicians who know how to sell things, who know which way the wind is blowing.
Okay,
you can laugh. That's what's going to happen.
Well, Connor, we'll see.
There's a good tweet here.
All the Democratic politicians are basically taking the side of the vandals.
I don't. That's not true.
They're not. I mean, look, we can listen to Gavin Newsom and Karen Bass are all taking the side of the rioters.
Even Karen Bass was
clear as day.
Even Karen Bass was saying, who I don't like at all, and I think she was way too soft on the rioters. Even she was like, oh, she was blaming Trump and blaming ICE and the protest starting because of the quote Trump provocations or however she framed it. But even she was saying that, people shouldn't be doing all this, burning shit down, doing all this horrible stuff.
Yes. And then police go home. She's talking out of both sides of her mouth.
Yeah, of course she is. That's what I'm saying.
She wants everything to be on the honor system. She's like, oh, everyone will be good. Just please go home and everyone will just...
Okay. This is weird. This is a weird conversation. I do not want to defend Karen Bass, but I'm just saying that's what she's saying. And
no, I heard. I listened to her statements. Definitely.
But this goes into, so Connor Rogers on X said something. This kind of goes to what you were saying, where he said it's an impossible problem that Democrats face. The fact is that they pay the electoral penalty for actions by activists who openly hate Democrats, do not vote for and do not support Democrats, but whom the public still associates with Democrats anyway. And that's very true. And in Hasan's stream here, even though everyone on the right is saying Karen Bass and Gavin Newsom are the most evil communist infiltrators who let, all the people run wild and all the open borders and all this stuff. And Karen Bass did say that totally insane comment about like, we're going to protect all Angelinos regardless of their papers or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
Comment she said. Right. Even though she said that, Hasan is like, in his stream is like, fuck Gavin Newsom and fuck Karen Bass. Because unless they take the most extreme position, he doesn't support them.
They have the same policy goals. The disagreement that they have is how to enact those policy goals. The Hassans of the world want to burn the city down. They think that's how they're going to achieve their policy goals.
Yes.
So anyone looking at them knows that they have a fundamentally anarchist part of their coalition that supports the Democrats. So,
right.
Yeah, and look, everyone knows they're never going to stand up to that portion of the coalition. So that's the problem. So I don't the idea that they're going to suffer the downside for that part of their coalition until they stand up to that portion of the coalition, of course they're going to suffer the downside of that.
Yeah. I don't know if I don't think Karen Bass is. I don't think California is. But nationally, I think in 2028, the Democrats are going to have to.
Yeah.
I think they will. They're already making this every day. There's an article that comes out about this civil war in the Democratic Party between the progressives and the more centrist, when they call them the abundance, Ezra Klein liberals or whatever you want to call them, right? There's like an article about that every day. It's happening. It's just not taking the center stage because it's kind of happening more behind closed doors. And it's not clear exactly how it's going to manifest, but I don't think it's going to, I think it is going to manifest in 2028. That's the direction it's heading.
How to deal with the violent part of their coalition.
Well, yeah, how to message, how to take all this stuff going forward.
Right. Yeah. I think ultimately people disagree on the policy. Now they're really going to disagree on the policy.
Oh, yeah.
People are going to start, after these images, people are going to start seeing all immigrants as criminals. Like they're completely playing into Trump's messaging.
Yeah. And I mean, this is part of why I was so disgusted with Hasan and other people's messaging on this is like Hasan, the people that are supporting this, that are supporting these types of protests. I mean, they don't care. They do not care about people that are being deported. Maybe they lie. Maybe they tell themselves. Maybe they try to convince themselves that they care, but they don't actually care. All Hasan and all these leftist activists, the people that are there at the protest, they're waving the Mexican flags, that are burning shit down. All they care about is clout sharking, growing their own audience, or like a 2-year-old, they care about finding an outlet for their own emotions. They're mad at the Trump administration. They're mad at whatever's going on in their lives. So they're going to block traffic. They're going to burn a car down. They're going to go loot a store. They're going to go cause misery for other people because that's what's important to them. What's important to them is letting out their emotions. It's not the care about the issue because it's the most obvious thing on the planet. That's why everyone's fucking saying it. It's the most obvious thing on the planet that their actions are going to make everything worse for their cause, right? If my goal, just hypothetically, if my goal was like, I want to buy a house, the steps I would take is I'd say, okay, well, I need to get a job. I need to save money. I need to go look for a home. I need to get a mortgage. There's steps that we say, okay, we logically know, like, you're going to do these steps to accomplish the goal. I wouldn't go burn the fucking house down. That doesn't make sense. How am I going to say, oh, I want to buy a house. That's my stated goal. And then I'm going to go burn the house down. It's the exact opposite. It's a contradiction. Okay.
Step 1, abolish capitalism.
Yes, exactly. I want to buy a house. Step 1, let me destroy the mechanism where that's possible. It doesn't make any fucking sense. And it's the exact same thing with these protests. Okay. So now some people are protesting outside the ICE facility. And whether you agree with that or don't, at least that makes sense. There's like a logic to it. You're like, okay, well, that's makes sense. They're at the place. They're protesting against the thing that they don't like, right? If people were trying to, remember, like people were against the death penalty, so they pressured companies into either stop making the chemical
the death
that
serum,
they were using, the death serum, or they were stopping them from selling to the U.S. government, right? The lethal injection, right? That was the name. Yeah, that's what they were doing. Like, I don't know. Maybe the people, if they actually cared about this, they would try to prevent companies from like supplying ICE facilities or something. I don't know. There's probably something they could do, right? That even if I disagreed with it, even if you disagree with it, we at least say, well, there's some inherent logic to the action. You would look at it and say, well, these people obviously don't like what is going on with ICE, and they're trying to do something to stop it. But if you're blocking a major highway in a large city just so you can hold up sign, let me tell you something. Okay, there is no one who is like, hey, I have to drive to work. I have to go pick up my parents to take them to a doctor's appointment. I have to take my kids to school today. There's no one in the entire fucking world who is sitting there in a traffic jam on a highway for hours that is like unable to do what they need to do. Yeah. Right. Who's like, yes. Oh, because some self-righteous protester, some retarded protester is sitting up there holding a sign. I've decided to change my entire mind. You've convinced me. I'm so glad you're ruining my day. Okay. Yeah.
Even the people at home whose days are not ruined are empathizing with the guy sitting in traffic more than they are with the protesters, the professional protesters.
Yes, because people are more likely to empathize with people who are engaged in an activity that they would be engaged in. Yes. And most people will be more likely to drive on a highway than to spend their day blocking the highway. Yes. And so you're completely correct. When people turn on the news and they see people blocking the highways, they see people looting stores, they see people lighting shit on fire and this is like the most insane shit. They see people waving the flag of a foreign country. What does that look like? It looks like
an invading
army.
It does. Yeah.
That's not what it is, but that's what it
Scares
looks
the
like.
shit out of people.
That's what it feels like to everyone. And it's so, this is why it drives me crazy. Everyone intuitively knows this. Every single person knows it. It's the most obvious thing on the planet. I even saw there was a post of some protesters who are not as stupid as Hassan, who are handing out American flags to try to combat the optics of this because they understand how stupid this fucking is. Okay. It's the most obvious thing on the planet. And so
they burned American flags.
Yes. Yeah. It's insane. It's insane because if you see someone protesting, or hell, even if you see someone rioting and they're waving an American flag, you could think like, okay, well, this person, even if I disagree with them, right? Like they think the government is doing something that's anti-American. Like that'd be the messaging.
Right. Yes.
But if they're waving another country's flag,
right,
it's like they're trying to take over your country. That's the messaging that comes out.
Yes. Yeah.
And you say, why the fuck are these people here? If you're protesting my country and you're waving a foreign country's flag, why are you here? Go back to your fucking country. Get the fuck out of my country. That's the message that it sends. Okay. And you know what? I've been convinced. I think every single person at one of these protests that's waving a foreign country's flag should be deported. They should all be sent back. I don't care. I want these people out of my country. I think if you hate my country, you should be deported. You should get the fuck out of my country. It's just, it's making me crazy. It's making my elephant rampage when I see this shit. It disgusts me on a visceral level completely.
Yeah, I totally agree. You want to read some super chats and we'll watch the Trump clip?
Yeah. Oh, and there's also, oh my God, wait, this triggered the shit out of me. There was a post from Ilhan Omar's daughter. Okay. She's an elected official. She's a politician. Her daughter said, from LA to Rafah, there's one common oppressor. Death to the colonial empire, life for our children. Okay. So she's calling America a colonial empire, a common oppressor, and saying death to my country. An elected official is saying death to my country. So I say, listen, fuck this stupid retard. Get her out. Okay. Get her. I think there should be a new rule. If you hate this country, don't let the door hit your ass on the way out. Get out. Just go. Just leave. Just go. I'm sick of this shit. We should I have the solution. I have the new solution. Okay. There's plenty of people. There's a clip. I don't know if you saw it. There's a clip of Hispanic workers who are working in LA at some Mexican restaurant or something. And they were like helping cops who had been injured in the riots. All right. There are plenty of people in this country, both here legally and illegally, that are Hispanic, that love America, want to be American, want to be productive citizens. I think we should have a new system where if you're at one of these protests, if you're not a citizen, you should be deported instantly. And if you are a citizen, they take your citizenship away and they give it to someone who wants to be a hardworking, American-loving citizen. I think that should be the program. Let those people put their money where their mouth is, okay? If they fucking hate America so much, they can renounce their citizenship and give it to someone who wants to love America, or who does love America, who wants to be American.
That would be an absolutely great program. They have, they toss out 100 people, 200 people, and then they just call up. They're like, if you're working today, have your employer call us. And
exactly.
if you're have illegal status, we have 200 fresh citizenships to award people.
Exactly.
Give us a call.
Yes.
Let us know that you've got a good, hardworking employee, and we'll give them status right now, fresh from somebody else.
Yes. Let Hassan and all these people who fucking despise America, who hate America's guts, okay, they should nut up. They should renounce their citizenship and they should give it to someone who actually loves America and is working hard to make America better, make America great again. All right. And want to pay their taxes and be a productive citizen.
Make America safe again.
Yes. Yes.
Make America riot free again.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Stug for $5 says, some of you may die, but that is a sacrifice I am willing to make. Hasan Farquad. Very true.
Oh, of course. Yeah. Fucker. God, I hate this guy.
Yes. Short Sack Goblin for $2 says, Mexican flags, they should be happy to go home. Yes. Exactly. It's totally crazy.
That's what people keep saying. Why is that? They've
Why
gotten
is
comfortable here. They have
Mhm.
gotten comfortable here. Nobody's challenged them at all. They've lived here for at least 4 years, right? But many of them much longer. So, and yeah, they feel
it's
like
be
their home is being ripped away from them. But I just like, if you're carrying a Mexican flag, well, how is this your home?
No, right. You talked about like the cultural shift. We need to have a very strong cultural shift back to like, okay, you could come to this country, but like you got to give up your previous identity to become American. That's what it means to come to another country and to become part of that country. You need to give up that aspect of your life to become that part of the next country. You need to assimilate to that country. All right. I'm not if I'm gonna move to Japan and try to become a Japanese citizen, I'm not gonna be like rah 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 America's the greatest anymore. I have to renounce my Americanness to become Japanese if I want to become a citizen. That's the way I think it should be. And it's the same thing with people coming to America. They need to fucking assimilate. They need to get rid of this whole like, oh, I'm a hyphenated American, right? I'm a blank American. No, you're just fucking American. Fuck this shit.
Why don't we say American Chinese, American Mexican, American
Yes,
Venezuelan?
exactly. We don't. Yeah, it's a good point.
Yeah,
It's a good point. We don't say that. And we shouldn't say that.
we
We
should
shouldn't
say
say it
it.
in reverse.
We
Shouldn't
should
say it in
say it.
reverse
We
either.
should say it in reverse if we say it at
Right.
all. Yeah.
The it's the problem is that we've had this like disgusting infiltration of these social scumbags who have basically indoctrinated millions of people into believing that America is evil. And so obviously, if you've been brainwashed and indoctrinated into thinking America's evil, you're going to want to not identify as American. You want to identify as Mexican American. You're going to want to identify as Chinese American. You want to identify as whatever instead of American. Anything that you possibly can do to shield yourself from the evil white American identity that has been demonized for the last 20 years.
Did you see the clip of the Mexican guy who says to the interviewer, a white guy, you came and stole this land from us, and that he's
Yes.
illegal, and that
Yeah.
he basically wants to implement communism.
I
He's
saw
a
that.
big
Yeah.
time fucking socialist.
Yeah.
I hope they find that guy and fucking arrest his ass and deport him, because it's
Right.
just like, what the fuck? He's on the news saying this shit.
Well, also it's racist as fuck, and I hate
Totally racist as
I hate
fuck.
how not how this is like the biggest mistake is that they kind of let that form of racism just swing by
Fester,
their
yes.
yeah just faster because like what do you mean my people? Why? Because I'm white? Because hundreds of years ago some people that were white did something that were at war with Mexicans who, by the way, were fucking invading from Spain. Go fuck yourself, okay? Like, how many people in Mexico are like half fucking European anyway?
Oh, of course they are. Yeah.
Where they took over from the natives.
The
But
Spanish got South and Central America, and the English got fucking North America. And North America
yes,
wasn't even the good spot.
yes, exactly. And it's like, oh, you stole it from my people. Fuck you. You're not your people. You didn't get shit stolen from you. Okay. You personally didn't get shit stolen from you, right? From
Yeah.
America. So fuck you. You don't get blood penance for something because someone shares your skin color from hundreds of years ago. All
See
right.
that
That's a
this
psychotic idea.
when you talk about Pete Buttigieg turning over a new leaf and being completely sane, Pete Buttigieg believes this shit. He believes America was stolen from the natives. So how do you get past that?
Well, first of all, I didn't say Pete Buttigieg is going to be completely sane. I said he's going to go on these shows and he's going to message
Pretend to
himself in
be
such a
sane.
way
Yes.
that's
Yeah.
going to sound appealing to people, which is what he's already done. I don't know.
Right.
I don't
Yeah.
know if I've ever heard him talk about these issues. So I don't know what his take or spin would be on these issues.
He believes America's a colonial oppressor around the world. He does. In his
I've
heart
never
of
heard him
hearts.
talk about it. I've never heard him talk about it. I don't know. I don't know.
AOC believes this. She's
Well,
running for president.
I do know AOC believes this, yes, because she's talked about it a lot.
Yeah, totally. So
But I think Pete
I
Buttigieg
don't.
and Shapiro and all the other like moderate Dems are going to, whether they believe it or not, they're not gonna phrase it that way. They're not gonna
Right.
frame it that way.
I guess it really just depends upon how much of the population has been completely infected with this ideology. That we're the oppressors.
Maybe it's a good thing, right? Maybe it's a good thing that these stupid leftist, socialist protesters are going to go out there and they're going to wave American flags and they're going to burn shit down, because every time they do something like this, and it's going to breed more support for Trump's actions and breed, more support against the left, that's going to force the Democrats, going to force the left politicians into more sensible positions, because they're going to have to keep up with, if they want to win, they're going to have to keep up with what the voting base wants. So maybe it's a good thing. I don't know. Maybe in a fucked up way, it's a good thing.
Does not seem possible.
That's selector theory. That's how power works. People are going to have to go where the votes are.
The Republican Party was the party of Lincoln. They was formed during the Civil War era, and they went from that to being completely locked out of power for 40 years. How does that happen?
And then because unfortunately the Democrats are able to be the party of
the working
racism
class
against black people in the South. And they were also, they had a coalition of working class people and also a coalition of racists. And they were able to combine both those things and become a dominant political force in huge swaths of the country. And what happens, the Democrats kind of switch on the race issues and they lose a lot of their power. And then now they've lost the working class vote. So now they have this new coalition that's even shittier.
It's difficult for me to imagine that the Democrats are not going to just erode their coalition. Everything they seem to be doing seems to be a complete clusterfuck. So
I would agree with you if we weren't seeing all these nonstop fights. Now maybe the progressive wing will win somehow. That's possible. I'm skeptical, but maybe they will. And then we'll just see nothing but shit.
Right.
Jake, for $10, thanks so much, says, I'm sending my first super chat in appreciation of Adam. I bought that chair you recommended a while back and has been wonderful for both my back and my ass. I'm now an ardent defender of A-Team. I do need to buy that chair.
That is hilarious. Before the stream, I got up for a second and my chair was in the camera shot. And I was like, oh, that chair is so beautiful. Every time I see it, I think of how comfortable my behind is.
That's funny.
You still have not got the chairs.
No,
that's hilarious. I searched high and low for this chair. I bought 4 chairs. 3 of them went to the dump.
It drives me crazy. I've bought a lot of chairs and I hate, you spend hundreds of dollars on this.
Oh, I know. Chair. Yeah, of course. Terrible. Yeah, no. I spent $1,000 in my chair quest. So you don't have to.
There
Jake,
you go.
That's right. Thank you. Thank you for the $10.
Riker Jeffrey for 3 months says, it's amazing how all the people who scream that the right wants to get rid of history they hate ignore what made MLK successful and loved. Very true.
Very, very, very true. So much.
Rosario was here for $5, says, you guys should have Nux Taku on sometime to review anime on your media channel. Apparently he's also one of God's chosen people, Sitch. Yes, I was aware. I didn't know that. I mean, I knew Nux. I didn't know he was Jewish, except I think Sam told me, because she watches his content pretty regularly. She told me that, I think some of his family members were attacked or even killed on October 7th or something crazy.
Ouch. That sucks.
Part of why he's so anti Hasan. Ace for $5 says, Adam, the Trump is joking defense is incredibly gross. As the president, his words matter. If not, then he should only be viewed as a clown.
Is this joking about Gavin Newsom, arresting Gavin Newsom?
Yes, I assume that's what that's in response to.
Okay. That's hold on a second. It's incredibly gross. I mean, I think it's funny, but
well, I haven't seen
you know what I think is gross is the mainstream media completely lying to the people about the context of those comments. So, but we'll watch the clips so you can get grossed out about it, Ace.
Death by Sloth for $2 says, champagne socialist. No. Chicken nugget socialist. Yes. Yeah, exactly. Ace for $10 says you can't be upset when people think the worst of Trump and then say he was joking. If I joked that you're a pedophile, then you wouldn't use such a defense. You constantly excuse Trump.
I mean, wouldn't it be more like the person themselves is joking about being a pedophile, which would be wrong. So,
Well, I'll listen to the clip because I haven't heard it, so I am curious. I do think that Trump said, I mean, I don't know if he jokes. He does say a lot of things very recklessly that I think he wants to materialize, and he's kind of testing it out to see how it works.
you can't say we're gonna arrest somebody for running for governor and take it seriously. We'll watch the clip. The context is.
I'll watch it. I don't know what the context is. I have no clue. I haven't seen this clip.
I mean, it's such a flippant remark.
Right. Short stack goblin for 2 hours says lions, tigers, and fascists. Oh my God, it's tiring. Yes.
Yes. Oh, so tiring.
Noel screaming to the void for $10 says I was born in LA. I left California when my registration cost as much as my rent. Illegals forced out legal Mexicans. Why Chavez was against illegals and are used as slave labor by rich assholes like Hasan.
Oh yeah. 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 Kind of crazy.
Paul Watson for $2 says, then why not vote for Trump? Adam is ridiculous.
Oh, okay. Paul Watson is one of my biggest critics in the comment section. But like Paul, I guess really thought I was a huge MAGA supporter, a huge Trump supporter. So he must have been on the Destiny subreddit and fell for everything they say about me.
Is he so okay? Because I thought Paul was some massive MAGA supporter himself.
Paul is the biggest MAGA.
You're not MAGA enough.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. Paul is our biggest Trump fan. Paul is our number one MAGA supporter in the chat always. So
right.
Look, Paul, we appreciate your $2 super chat. We really do. So. If you think I'm ridiculous, that's you're entitled to your opinion. So,
Stug, as long as you pay us, Stug for $10.
Well, look,
as I've been saying,
he's entitled to his opinion, even if he doesn't pay us.
No,
if you want us to know your opinion, you got to pay us. So
this is capitalism. Okay, you got to pay for it.
Right. Okay.
Stug for $10 says I've been saying the same thing about American socialists generally. Let them trade their citizenship with Venezuelans or whatever. The worst thing that happened is we trade a commie for a commie. There you go. I like it. Nomad for 25 months says, bro, my whole family went through the immigration process and they went through hell to get their citizenship. These rioters have no excuse. Yeah, a lot of people feel that way. So
many of my friends who have our legal status all feel the same way. As soon as they become legal citizens, they're like, these fucking line jumpers, fuck them.
Exactly. Loser Doma for 5 Canadian says, been a fan of you guys for a long time, but you guys are extra baked today and I want more. I blame Sammy and Adam's Korean rifle. That's terrible.
My what?
Like
my Korean rifle.
Yeah. Sammy G for $2. Speaking of Sammy says, 2 points. Oh, points to Sitch. I'm fixing that boy. Tanada, LOL.
Oh, really? Is this your influence, Sammy? You're doing a great job. Thank you.
Well, we were talking about it. She said originally that deport the people that are waving the Mexican flags, and I said you're right. You're completely right.
Right.
Forrest, thanks so much for joining the Free Will Seekers. Leica001 for 3 months says have to admit it's kind of the protesters to wait until the weather is warm and the students are out of summer vacation to start these protests. That's a good point. That's the fuel
for it.
It was so ridiculous. Like Hassan, God, you Californians are so fucking privileged. Okay. Hassan was like whining that it was so hot because it was 75 degrees outside. Here I'm in Florida. It's like 90. And I'm like, fuck you.
It's been beautiful.
Weak bitch. I was like, 75.
So
fuck
beautiful.
off. It's so hot. It's 75 degrees. I'm like, fuck you.
Been a light haze in the morning. So it's just the perfect temperature. Don't need a jacket or anything. So sun's not blaring down on you.
Mm-hmm. Forrest, thanks so much for being 1 year Free Will Seeker. Says Sitch, we should take the credentials from folks who hate the country and send it to the Hong Kong protesters who flew the U.S. flags versus tyranny. Yes, 100%. Give it to those people. Great. Give it to the Afghanis that helped the American army that we left behind. Okay.
Oh,
there's a lot of people that are deserving.
Biden did that.
Bob Van Gogh for 10. Yeah, he did. It's disgusting. Bob Van Gogh for $10 says the best thing we could do for Mexico as a country is not let their citizens escape, diminish the cartel by cracking down on drug trafficking, and let the, I don't know what that word is, anaclosis run its course without interfering.
What's anaclosis?
A cyclical theory of political change.
Oh, look at this. Bob Van Gogh coming in here with the $10 words.
There you go. Or learn something new every day. JV showed up for 20 Canadian. Thank you. Says on a different note, I heard Asmongold finally got a mansion and some kind of prime real estate too. I heard inside Hassan's head. I hear it's inside Hassan's head and has a good view. That's funny.
Yeah, he brought up Asmongold a couple times at the protest, and Asmongold was laughing about it. Asmongold, I guess it is.
It's so it's like he's at this protest and like 2 or 3 times he's like, oh, I can't get Asmongold's words out of my head. I'm like, Jesus, he's obsessed. It's hilarious.
He supplanted him. That's all he fucking cares about is status.
Yes.
Yeah. He went from being number 1 to number 2. Now he's like, what the fuck? This guy looks like a rat. How is this happening to me? I'm the fucking charming, good-looking one. I've had I'm the one who grew up rich with horse riding lessons and croquet.
There you go. Yeah, exactly. You know, he was also at the protest, I guess, because of his like privileged upbringing. He would really want to see the police horses because he's a horse boy. I didn't know
he's an equestrian.
Yes. Yeah. I think he just likes the horse cock the way Vosh does, but whatever.
Oh, okay. That's his secret.
That's the secret. El Caliso for 2 years. Thanks so much for a 2-year Frugal Seeker. Says, I think if your population thinks illegal immigration is normal I think if your population thinks illegal immigration is normal and will riots when it stops, it's a clear sign the state is occupied.
Yeah, I agree.
Oh, okay. Seriously. Yeah. Right. Metalworks 41190 for $2 says, bring me in, coach. I'm ready. Almost.
Well, look, I messaged you and there was no response. I don't know how I'm supposed to send you a link if it's not on Twitter. I messaged you 30 minutes ago, but no worries.
The Wooster for $20. Thank you, Wooster. Says, quote, if you don't like this country, you should get deported. Sitch. I have to commend fellow Hispanic Sammy G for turning Sitch hard right. It is the secret duty of us Latinos to slowly turn our non-Latino partners more right-wing. There you go. That's what she always says.
Look at this.
That's what she always says.
All right. I guess we'll bring in, do you want to watch
let's watch that Trump clip first, then we'll bring in Metalworks.
Okay, perfect. Let's see here. I have the full.
A disaster happening. And they now admit it was a disaster. I watched the chief yesterday, who's a good man, by the way. And he said, well, we're lucky we did this because they were overwhelmed. You saw what was happening. So we did the right thing. Everybody agrees to that. But you have a governor who let the city burn down, didn't want water to be sent down to him. I sent billions of gallons of water. I wanted to do it in the first term. He wouldn't do it over, I don't know, they have environmental reasons, but there were no environmental reasons. I think it's just a political philosophy. But it's lucky for the people in Los Angeles and in California that we did what we did. We got it just in time. It's still simmering a little bit, but not very much. Yep.
And what crime has he committed that would warrant his arrest? What crime has Governor Newsom committed?
A crime has he committed?
Yeah, to warrant his arrest, as you had suggested earlier.
I think his primary crime is running for governor because he's done such a bad job. What he's done to that state is like what Biden did to this country. And that's pretty bad. It's the wrong philosophy. Hundreds of thousands of illegal immigrants, many of them prisoners, are taking up your health.
So what do you think? Obviously, she's asking for crime in the strictest sense. Like she's asking legally. And I think he responds in a just kind of, conversationally, how you'd say something like crime, right?
Mm-hmm. Well,
like you didn't clean the kitchen and that's a crime, right?
Where was the original What was the original time he said? Because she asked the question. He'd already said it, I guess.
So this comes out of Tom Homan. Somebody asked Tom Homan if they would arrest Gavin Newsom or Karen Bass, and Tom Homan said if they were involved in stopping some sort of investigation or did anything illegal, obviously they're not above the law, and he would arrest them for interference. So that's where the whole situation originated. So, and then I think Trump was getting on Air Force One, and somebody asked him, Tom Homan said he would arrest Gavin Newsom, and he responded basically just saying that he would back up Tom Homan. So obviously the press is like a dog with a bone. They want to keep going down this path, right? They want to show Trump is a authoritarian dictator who is going to start arresting public officials. That's their narrative.
Mm-hmm. So I found the clip, but I don't want to play it because it's like you have that airplane sound that's just so loud.
Oh yeah, it's horrendous.
You see, yeah, it says Tom Homan. I always want to say Tom Human. It like fucks in my head. Tom Homan talking about arresting Gavin Newsom. Trump says, I would do it if I were Tom. I think it's great. Gavin likes the publicity, but I think it would be a great thing. That's what Trump said. Okay.
But the continuity of context is Tom Homan saying, I would arrest Gavin Newsom if he did something that broke the law, right?
Of course.
So Trump, if you're being honest here, is backing him up. If Gavin Newsom broke the law, he would get arrested, and Trump would think that's a great idea.
Mm-hmm.
Trump, at no time does Trump say just arrest him for any reason, but that's what they're trying to spin this into, right? Because this is like no reason to arrest him. Just running for governor now, you're going to get arrested.
So here's what I'm going to say. I'm going to put this in the same category as the level of stupidity of waving a Mexican flag at a protest. Okay. You should be smart enough to understand how these things are going to be perceived optically, obviously. And so either A, Trump's just a fucking retard, or B, what I think is probably more likely is that it's intentional. He intentionally likes to flirt with these kind of things that seem like they're crossing the line in order to get everyone all mad. And then also people start fighting because they say, well, he was joking, or, oh, we meant it in this other specific context, or whatever. Because this is like kind of what happens continually, again and again and again. And if you keep doing it, if you keep trying to roil people up to make you think or to troll that you're authoritarian, and then people say, oh, you're authoritarian, and they act that way, I'm going to shrug and say, well, then that's your fault. Why do you keep trolling people that you're authoritarian and then act surprised when people act like you're authoritarian, regardless of whether you are or not?
I mean, I agree with everything you're saying in concept. I don't know. The mainstream media has a huge credibility problem right now. So it's hard for me to cast this as a mainstream media win, right? Like they really got Trump. Everybody
I'm not saying it's a win. Trump would cast it as a win because he's like, LOL, I'm trolling the lips. I'm trolling the left, right? I'm trolling the media. So I'm not saying that.
But you're saying this is a Trump L. You're saying Trump shouldn't be doing this, and
I'm saying
like a loss.
I'm not saying it's a win or a loss. I'm saying I think it's intentional. If he's intentionally trolling the left because they think it's funny, or because he thinks his base thinks it's funny, his base doesn't think it's funny, right? And then people on the left take the troll as legitimate because it keeps happening again and again and again and again and again. And they start acting like he's an authoritarian and burning shit down or doing crazy shit. And I'm going to shrug and say, that's your fault. You keep trolling. If you keep trolling people to think you're something and they think you're something, at some point it becomes your fault for keeping the troll up.
Right.
It's the meme of I'm going to pretend to be a retard, and then you're a retard and everyone leaves and you're like, LOL, I was just kidding. Right. It's like, okay, well, I don't know what you want.
Do you watch this clip though and you think, oh my God, Trump is after Gavin Newsom?
I don't. I think it's exactly what I said it is. I think he's just He's just being the Trump troll. That's what I think. Bob's saying if he keeps doing it though, if he keeps doing that and then he combines it with
running
things
for governor.
I know, I understand. But if Trump keeps trolling, as I said, I think it's a troll. I don't think it's legitimate. But then he does things like he continually trolls about this shit, but then he also does things that aren't troll, like say, I'm going to try to prevent law firms from suing me and the government. I'm going to try to make it like almost illegal for people to sue me and sue the government. I'm going to try to make their lives hell, which is an insane level of authoritarian overreach, right? As president.
Right. But you're talking about a completely different story.
Yeah, but you understand that whenever we have these conversations with someone, do they ever just stick to one topic, or do they create the mental model of all the different events in their mind that lead them to the conclusion? Right? That's how people think.
Yeah. The people on the left are predisposed to. The interaction, I think, with the reporter is funny because it's obvious. It's so obvious that he's not serious but she's taking everything completely seriously. I see it more like an adult and a child having a back and forth.
Because they want to
adult is obviously completely fucking with the child, and the child is like, what? You know how you say to your kid, we're gonna skip Christmas this year, and they're like, what? Right?
Well, I don't know.
They lose their fucking minds. It's like, yeah, we're gonna arrest Gavin Newsom. What for? For running for governor. That's what we're gonna arrest him for.
Yeah, but then it's like,
okay, like, what? God.
If your political enemies then use that to make a bunch of money and galvanize a political force against you, it looks kind of stupid then, doesn't it?
Of course. Yes.
Okay, well, that's I have to say. I don't know.
Are they fundraising madly off of this Gavin Newsom?
I have no clue. I wouldn't be surprised. This is going to be another feather. You're going to hear this line. Okay. You know, like when you hear someone who's like ragging on Trump and they have like the 10 things they rattle off. Okay.
This is going to be another Charlottesville.
This is going to be another thing. Oh, he wants to arrest his political enemies. He wants to arrest Gavin Newsom, right?
Are they going to go that far with it? Oh my God, they probably will. Holy shit.
Yeah, it's going to be just another thing that they add to the pile.
This turns into if this turns into Charlottesville, then you're right, Sitch.
Well, it's not going to turn. It's not going to reach the level of Charlottesville, obviously.
You sure?
Yeah.
I mean, he's not praising neo-Nazis here.
Right.
He should say.
He's not quite. Not quite.
He should say we should have some neo-Nazis arrest Gavin, and then he could really tie it in, wrap it up in a bow.
Yeah.
Okay, watch the reporter here, like a dog with a bone here.
Healthcare, they're taking up your space in schools, they're taking up your hospital, and in many cases they're criminals, and we have to do something about it, and we're doing something about it. I want to thank the incredible patriots of ICE and Tom Holman, who has been incredible, and Kristi Noem, likewise incredible. The job they're doing.
Kristi Noem, she's just a little
it's like
Kristi.
An unforced error. There was no reason for this. 21 million people were.
Did you like that, Kristi Noem? She said, now maybe this clip was out of context, but I saw a short clip where she said that Los Angeles was not a city of immigrants, it was a city of criminals.
Mm-hmm.
So does that include you? Are you a criminal now?
No, obviously.
Okay.
I'm not a criminal. I shoot criminals on sight.
There you go.
Yeah.
Were allowed into our country, and many of those people were criminals, and it's a shame. It's a shame, but we're getting them out, and I will say I think it's a 95-5 issue, just like so many other issues, 95-5. And the Democrats lost an election in a landslide because they're on the wrong side of the issues. I mean, it's not even conceivable.
Landslide? Come on now. Wasn't a landslide.
That somebody would do the kind of things that he did. And then, you talk about projects. They want to build a train going from San Francisco to L.A., and it's costing hundreds of billions of dollars more than they thought it was going to cost. It's not even believable. To Brad and to people sitting here, would you believe that a train, it was going to cost X dollars, and it might be 100 times X?
Would have paid for this for about 50 million American children.
You're right.
50 million American children instead of a 3-mile train track that never got built.
We could have put Lincoln in charge with no experience. He would have done a good job. I guarantee you that. All right, please, Peter.
Does it go back to the reporter, or is that it? She asks like a follow up, like, "But are you for real, or is it just?"
Yeah, they go back. Just taking forever.
Mr. President, have you gotten an update from your negotiating?
Thank you, President Trump. So it seems like Gavin Newsom likes the attention that he's getting right now from you.
Yeah,
it seems like he does. If you look at recent history,
this guy's the Trump fluffer.
That's the Fox News guy, isn't it?
I don't know. He might be someone else. Bunch of Trump.
Somebody who was running for president, you, who got arrested and had a mugshot, you could make the argument that politically that wound up helping you. Are you worried at all at this moment that talking about him getting arrested could be helpful to his political prospects? Because a lot of people think he wants to be sitting right where you are.
Well, in my case, it was a witch hunt, and everybody knew it. And I was able to explain that during the process. Otherwise, I wouldn't be sitting here right now. And it was a total witch hunt. It's proven to be a witch hunt, and you see what's happened. In his case, it really is very obvious. You look at what's happened between the fires, I could name 10 things right now. We talk about the trains. We talk about all of the costs in California. You talk about all of the people that are flowing and destroying life for everyone else. So no, I don't think it's going to help him. I think it's actually very bad for him.
And right around the time that we were walking in here, the governor and the state attorney general said that they're going to sue you for sending the National Guard in. They're saying there's no invasion, there's no rebellion. The president is trying to manufacture chaos and crisis on the ground for his own political ends. Federalizing the California National Guard is an abuse of the president's authority under law.
Well, you know, it's interesting. You watched the same clips as I did. Cars burning all over the place, people rioting. And by the way, we stopped it. We were able to make it much better, but it still looked pretty bad. And in watching clips last night, people were saying this is really a big problem. And until we went in, if we didn't do the job, that place would be burning down just like the houses burned down. They were in big trouble last night, Peter. You know it. And the night before, and the night before that. And I feel we had no choice. I don't want to see happen what happened so many times in this country. I watched Minneapolis burn. Look at what happened in so many different parts of California. You take a look at what happened in San Diego. There's so many different places where we let it burn. We wanted to be politically correct. We wanted to be nice. We wanted to be nice to the criminal. And what you're doing is destroying the fabric of our life in this country. No, we did the right thing. We've been given credit by people that I would least suspect. Why I would say that some of the people that came in and said, thank goodness, they said, some of them, thank God that Trump got involved. And I'm very happy I got involved. And I think
California would be so much better if Trump arrested Gavin Newsom. I'm telling you, it'd be fucking be so amazing.
We'll see. This is where the joke becomes not a joke. Like, maybe it would be better without Gavin.
It would be. It would be a lot better. Gavin Newsom, there was a recall. He barely squeaked by a recall election. They had a fucking special election to pull his ass out of office. Look, if you're doing a good job, do you have a recall election? Do you gather enough signatures to actually have a fucking recall election that you barely win?
I would assume not. Usually.
Yeah. He's on. It's so crazy that he's running for president. So, but look, maybe he'll do good.
I don't think so. So that was Pete Ducey, the Fox News, that asked that question.
Oh,
good old Pete
Ducey, huh?
Anyway, did you send metal?
No, I want you to.
I'm inside the emergency operations center run by the county.
Take these additional steps.
This was a set.
I want you to watch fucking Gavin.
I did actually, even though
fucking...
I saw his response and I never saw what he was responding to, and it sounds super cringe. And I was like, what is this cringe shit?
75 CHP officers, technically trained officers, tactical team, grow up. They need to stop, and we need to push back. And I'm sorry to be so clear, but that kind of bloviating is exhausting. So, Tom, arrest me. Let's go.
The perception is there's a lot of...
Oh my God.
What is that face he's making? It looks so fake, doesn't it?
That's his mad face.
And we need to push back. And I'm sorry to be so clear, but that kind of bloviating is exhausting. So, Tom, arrest me. Let's go.
The perception is there's a lot of theatrics happening out there. Mayor Bass told me that she spoke directly to Tom Homan. Has he reached out to you? Have you reached out to him?
No.
No communication whatsoever?
No, it's direct communication and back and forth with Susie Wiles. and with the president in a phone conversation.
I mean, Tom Homan clearly says he would arrest Gavin Newsom if he did anything illegal, that he's not above the law. He didn't say he would just arrest him for doing nothing. So it makes it sound like Gavin is doing something illegal.
I think I saw a different clip where he was like, arrest me. Come on, arrest me. Like he said it multiple times. And I was like, what is this? Super cringe. But
I think it might be in the same clip.
oh, well, whatever.
This guy completely
either way.
blows
Gavin
him.
is a Newsom is a cringe guy. I think we all agree with that.
Oh God, he runs for president from a recall election and for governor to actual president of the United States. California recalled Gray Davis. I mean, we've got a history of recalling bad governors.
Mm-hmm. That's good.
They were like, look, we'll get this guy too. Fuck him. Although California does have a rebellious streak, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
So you want to, I guess we could just let this play a little more. Well, I'll send the link to Metalworks.
I'll read.
There
No,
obviously
let me read. J-Mac, our
but I like
surrogate
to pay
father.
attention to the super chats, but whatever. Go ahead.
J-Mac, our surrogate father. We're just gonna send the link out. Just pay attention.
No, I
Oh, okay.
come on.
For $100. Thank you so much. Says it's crazy how many people are okay with flat amnesty. Connor and I got into it because he thinks you can just do criminal investigation on all illegals, deport the hardcore criminals, and just assimilate the rest. His argument is it's unrealistic to do mass deportations. There you go. I mean, I don't know what you mean by I don't know what you mean by flat amnesty. I think if people have been in the country for some extended period of time, which people could debate, and they haven't, committed crimes or haven't been found to commit crimes, and they're a productive citizen, I would be totally fine with them becoming a citizen and paying taxes and doing all this stuff if they've been in the country for like 10 years or something, or if they were a baby and they've been in the country for their whole life, some situations like that.
They're just terrified because they hit Biden so many times with people. I mean, that one guy that killed Lake and Riley, I guess, was arrested on immigration and they let him go. So, and then he ended up murdering some young woman. So they don't want to be in a situation where ICE had him and let him go, and then they commit a crime later and they're use it to make political hay.
Yeah, but how long has that guy been in the country?
I'm not sure.
Right.
The Lake and Riley guy? I'm not sure.
And JMac for $5 says, Adam, has it been a criminal since marijuana was legalized in the state of California? There you go.
Of course.
That's true. Actually, yeah, you've done lots of crimes.
Well, I mean, nothing immoral, obviously.
Oh, look at this guy.
Just minor drug offenses. Non-violent drug offenses. That's it. All right, look at this Metalworks right here. What's up?
Hello.
Hey, let me mute the stream for a second.
Sure.
Oh, how do I sound?
You sound
great.
Fine.
All right. So, sorry I didn't say anything earlier because
that's okay.
I've been watching since the start of the stream and I got all caught up in Sitch and his rant.
Thank you. You sound like someone else, and I can't quite place my finger on it.
Some people have said I sound like Alex Jones.
You sound like Alex Jones mixed with Sargon if he was not British.
We're breaking the conditioning.
I'm
animated. Like I'm an American. I'm an explorer.
I like it.
Yeah.
So this is Metalworks. You've been in the chat a bunch, so you guys have. I'm sure you've interacted with it. Metalworks 41190.
Yeah.
So for those of you in the chat, now you get to hear his voice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I've been following for a long time. I think I followed Sitch first back when he was
That's okay. We forgive you. No, nobody's
that's
perfect.
the correct way to do it.
Yeah, but I also found Adam at one point too, and then you guys started streaming together. I'm like, oh, how long is this going to last? Especially since Sitch doesn't like the idea of streaming, and Well, that changed.
How he's changed. Look at this.
This is not an Elon Trump situation. You were like, how long is this doomed relationship going to last?
No, it wasn't like that. It was just like, how long until you guys get bored and want to go back to making videos? But
right.
yeah. So I've been, and you guys, I remember I think when you guys, sorry, I'm a little nervous.
That's okay.
Just like watching you guys not go down the route like every other skeptic or anti-woke person has gone to all kinds of extremes. And you guys,
Armored Skeptic, Chris Reagan.
Yeah, all of them.
Everyone cucks out. All these cucks.
Jeff Holiday.
iDubbbz. Jeff Holiday. Yeah, that's another good one.
I'm just and I used to like
all
Sargon,
these ball lickers.
Yeah, I like Sargon. I like Sargon, but then you have also people going to like the far right,
Yes.
Which is I think it's just sad. So, but seeing you guys kind of not flex like that.
Thank you.
Is good.
It's hard. It's hard to stay an enlightened centrist. I mean, we're not enlightened centrists. It's hard to stay sane.
Neither one of us are real clout chasers. That's the thing. A lot of people realize, they get into this space and they realize, okay, well, I want to be bigger. I want more influence. I want a bigger audience. So I need to adjust my opinions and clout chase. So obviously, we haven't done that. So
still waiting for Tim Pool to get that van.
Oh yeah.
He was going to get that van and go do like on the floor, like reporting or on the ground reporting. And that never happened.
Well, he got rich instead.
Yeah,
exactly.
He got a little own property and now he gets swatted all day and has to hide away, which is sad. But no, I think what you were talking about earlier about how like how I really think it's going to start the left is going to start fragmenting soon, or more like the liberals are going to start realizing like we can't work with these people, these progressives. They're too toxic. They keep ruining movements. Just recently, I was watching. I know it's Destiny, but he was talking to these people about how they let this tour that was, I think they were going to go to like right-leaning universities and debate people there. And the tour like lasted for like they had one stop and it completely fell apart because one lady didn't apologize to a bunch of like activists who, all the normal arguments, oh, there's not enough minority representation, this and that, they need to apologize. And they tanked the movement. And Destiny's like asking these people, like, what do you do? Why do we let this thing explode like this? Why didn't you guys talk about this privately? Why did you go on TikTok and do a live stream and air all this laundry and make people leave the thing and have it just implode on itself? And none of them listened. They just kept talking over him. So we're just going to keep seeing that happening, where we're going to get more Ezra Kleins and Jesse Signals and Bill Moores that are just going to keep like, I'm tired of losing. I'm tired of siding with these people who like to self-sabotage and keep ruining our movements, keep imploding on ourselves. It's not working out.
2028 is going to be weird because it's going to be the post, like, where's the Republican Party going to go without Trump? There's going to be this weird factions with Vance and the tech bros and the neocons and the more far right people. And then the Democrats are going to have like the battle for, the progressives versus the liberals. It's going to be like this very weird election cycle of like both sides trying to figure out, to define themselves, to figure out what makes the party going forward.
Yeah, you're going to see people who are like Ezra Klein, who wants to like solve a problem, but then you have Sam Cedars like, no, we need to blame the rich.
Yeah,
no,
exactly.
We have to blame No, it's got to be blaming capitalism. No, we need a scapegoat.
It's like, here's a medicine for this cancer that's killing you. Well, I'm not going to take it unless you tell me that the rich person gave me the cancer in the first place. Well, wait a minute. Here's the medicine. Just take it.
How many crystals is it? How powerful is this therapy?
Yes.
Do the chakras align properly? I don't know if I trust this. Is this pure water? Is this living water, not dead water? No.
So I think you said you had leftist friends that you wanted advice on how to, I guess,
That was a while
Right
ago.
wing pill them. Well, so we're not going to talk about that.
We can talk about it a little bit because we really didn't get into it too much. Because right now Trump has been doing so much crazy shit that I kind of agree with him a lot more than disagree with him. But
It makes it much harder to
he does.
You're like, oh, okay, I can't really argue these points though.
Yeah, when people get disappeared for almost no reason, or they get
Mhm.
sent to the wrong country, it's not conducive. Or what he's doing right now, like when you, I don't know if there's this old internet saying, ironically, shitposting is still shitposting.
Mhm.
If you keep saying you're gonna, even if you're joking around about throwing someone in jail, you're still saying you're gonna throw someone in jail.
Right.
People are gonna interpret that any way they want, especially if you leave it up in the air or try to put it off as a joke.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like you said, it starts as a joke, but then it can evolve, and I don't really want that to evolve.
Yeah, of course. I mean, how many? It's. I think it's two things. Number one, how many times can you tell these jokes? And then number two, it's like Trump has done a lot of things that are uncouth, or a lot of things that have been pushing the boundaries on executive authority and everything. So it's kind of like, yeah, if he hadn't been doing any of those things and made that joke, maybe I'd be like, oh, okay, just hand wave it away, right? But
Yeah,
we're not really in that environment at the moment.
Oh, I remember Bill Maher saying, like, I know these people who think that you can just, like, you could be flirty, you could be in a relationship and still be flirty and do flirty things and
No,
keep doing this stuff and it won't go anywhere. But
right.
no, if you keep flirting with this shit, eventually it's going to stop being flirting and it's going to be real.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Mm-hmm. That's true. I agree.
It's very disappointing. But yeah, I'm wondering how liberalism is going to evolve also over time, because I don't know who the guy was, but the guy who you were watching before, I think a couple months ago, about how like liberalism needs to be more robust. It's
Mhm.
going to need this. It's going to need this more robustness to it. It needs to be able to get out the subverters. It needs to be able to have defenses against subversion and shit. It's very important.
I think we're gonna learn, like there was in the past, and this is why I disagree with organized people. You look in, we had the Red Scare in this country for decades,
Yeah.
where liberalism was very like hyper sensitive and aware of communist threats, internal communist threats, probably more so than it should have been in terms of going after these people. And so I think, yeah, we're going to relearn some of those old immune system responses, that there's these people out there who want to destroy the country, that are toxic, that want to spread their toxic misery to everyone, like Hassan, like Sam Seder, like all these people.
Yeah.
And as a culture, we're going to say, okay, we need to be, and we will be proud of our accomplishments, proud of Americans. We're tired of the guilt. This whole like guilt shit that the far left constantly does. Yeah, it's just
I cannot stand it. But it comes from everyone.
Can stand it. Yeah, it's tiring.
I hate it when it comes from the right. I hate the American bad shit. I'm
Yes.
all about being self-critical of America. The Middle East and stuff is not been a success, but everything else we do, come on, man. We're really just going to have such a negative opinion about our own country. I really don't want to like deport people who say mean things about America. But...
No, deport them. Get them out of here.
No, because I don't have a problem with like, flag burning and stuff like that. It's freedom of speech to me. But if they're not an American citizen and they keep doing bad shit on top of that, I really don't have any, sympathy for you. Get going.
Of course.
Though I would like to see someone to do something funny, like come out on the left being like, hey, or maybe the right would do this. Hey, if you don't like being American, how about this? We'll buy your citizenship. We'll send you any country you want to. You just have to burn your passport and you're not allowed back here.
Trump should do that. That feels like a very Trump thing to say, doesn't it?
It would be very funny. I don't know if I got that from you guys or someone else, but I remember hearing something like that.
I said it just today, so I'm going to say that you got it from me, but
I think you said it another time before.
Probably. It's not an uncommon thought.
It's a very funny idea.
I'm sure
I kind of like it.
Yes.
But yeah, I think if we can, liberalism can grow this robustness. I think what's also going to happen is we're going to start seeing a sort of shift in like how we view politics and stuff. Because I think that evolution has to happen. Because this whole left-right thing, this wasn't always a thing. This came about because of the French Revolution, right?
I mean the terms left and right did. I think there's always been a force of like conservatism versus a change that has
Yeah.
always exists in society. Now, like what the issues are that coalesce around that changes over time.
I also think there's also been like ideology of like big government versus smaller government, and
Right.
Right. All the other little things. I think it's going to boil down to, especially if someone tries to start making it more, I guess, doing a more objective scientific look at it, they're going to come down to, it's going to be more like, well, what's a more autocratic versus non-autocratic society? I think that's what it's going to start boiling down to. Like, what leaning ideologies and leanings lead to more autocratic societies, and what leads to more democratic societies. And before anyone says it, our country is a hodgepodge of like democracy, republic, and it's a constitution. So it's all those things. It's not one of those things. I don't know why everyone has to be like, no, it's a republic, no, it's a democracy. No, it's more like both. And the governments are always like hybrids of things anyway, like an amalgam, or it didn't start like that from like the word go. It evolved this way. It wasn't,
Right.
I know people don't understand like these things evolve and change over time, and stuff that might have been in our government that might seem like short-sighted has been integrated so much in it during its evolution. It makes sense having it part of our system. It'd be weird to change it.
I know Adam doesn't like it, but I still think my inside-outside dynamic is the correct framing for how people view politics, the inside threat versus the outside threat. And I think the people's like this whole kind of fixation on immigration from both sides is really a very clear indication of that, of people perceiving the outside threat as like the immigrants coming into the country.
It also kind of reflects our innate human tribalism. That's what I think.
Exactly.
It's very much a byproduct of that. Excuse me. I think what's going to happen is I'm trying to keep my thought here. I don't normally like talking stuff like this, so I'm like nervous.
That's fine. You're doing good.
Yeah.
Listen, Metalworks, I love you as a person. Okay, I love you.
Thank you. I'm very thankful to be on, by the way. Thank you.
You're welcome. Our pleasure.
You get it? I'm being thankful.
I get it.
Oh.
Where's the JD Vance meme?
Where's the face?
Bring it up. Have you said listen, he said his thank you, everybody. He said his thank you once.
Yeah.
All right.
I made sure to be thankful.
Twice even.
But I'm trying to think about.
Do you make content on your own at all, or
no? I don't do any of that kind of stuff.
So you just wanted to talk to us? That's the.
Well, yeah. I always had these kind of opinions. I always wanted to, shoot by you guys.
Oh, okay.
And
that's good.
No, that's great. That's totally
Too many
cool.
people want to just chill. Okay, but Metalworks is like, I have thoughts. I have feelings too.
I do look a lot. I think a lot of people watch YouTube content and think I'd like to make YouTube content one day. So
that's what happened to me.
Yeah.
I always thought about, but I don't know. I never really tried anything yet. There's lots of stuff I wouldn't mind doing, but I don't know. I have a lot of stuff going on in my life right now, so.
You have a good voice. I like your voice. You got a good talk voice.
Thank you. I'm very self-conscious about my voice.
Listen, it's better than mine. All right, everything's better than mine. So.
I don't have a problem with your voice.
People just listen. It's like domestic abuse. If you're around long enough, it becomes normalized. I think that's
God, stop. I think that. I mean, I don't watch their streams, but I watch a lot of VTuber clips, and I have noticed I've gotten more tolerant of certain voices that most people would find annoying. So
exactly. See?
Yeah. So, but I'm trying to think about what I wanted to say earlier. It's kind of escaping me.
Was it about immigration? Was it about something else entirely?
This always happens to me. This is why I always like. I'm nervous.
You gotta write. You gotta take notes.
In the minute, and like when you're watching it, you're fine. But now when you're on the spot, now like it's like forgetting stuff for a test. Like, oh no.
Yeah, I'm the same way. You have to. I always have a little notepad open on my laptop so I can write something down real quick. I'm gonna forget it otherwise.
Stuff like that. Yeah, keeping notes.
Mm-hmm.
But other things I think I wouldn't mind talking about. there is a video I saw recently. It was about reading in this country is like not doing well. These are like certain problems that we keep, that are going to keep piling up because of all the craziness, and we're going to be ignoring all these little smaller problems. Like we have a reading problem, and kids aren't doing too well with relationships and stuff. And I mean, I have nephews. I've seen them kind of slowly getting influenced by some of the more crazier stuff that comes from the internet, and the ideological stuff seems to be kind of seeping into their schools a bit. Like my one nephew, whenever I make fat jokes about myself, my one nephew is like, that's rude. I think that's rude, but I'm making fun of myself.
How old is he?
He's 11.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's terrible.
It's bad.
If I was 11, I'd been like, yeah, you fat fuck.
No, they call me Uncle Big Guy instead. Now the younger one, he loves shit talking. So
there you go. Some hope.
We have a problem with that. Yeah, he is a massive shit talker. It's hilarious.
It's going to be some huge swing back, I think, from the young generation, completely against all this woke shit.
Oh yeah, they're all. I like you guys were talking about before how comedians always like pick at the norms and anything that's off limits.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody's sacred cows. People are always going to make fun of that shit. They're always going to go poke that bear because there's always content from it. So,
and little kids are going to be drawn to that, especially little boys.
Yeah,
I love that.
They love roasting shit.
Yes,
unless they're the type of boy that doesn't like getting made fun of. So,
I mean, no one wants to be made fun of. They want to be the one doing the fun.
Yeah, but there's two kinds of guys. There's the ones that they talk shit back or they hit back,
or they run the teacher.
True, they narc.
Yeah,
there's always the third position. They go narc. But
I remember back in my day, back in elementary school, we had an insult contest pretty frequently. People would make fun of each other all the time. And then there'd always be like one person who, couldn't take it. They couldn't take it. They couldn't take the roast and they go run the teacher or whatever.
No.
We need to bring back this masculine energy of young boys roasting each other. Get rid of this feminist nonsense about everyone's got to be nice. No, fuck that.
No. Bring back a little bit of bullying. Some bullying.
Yeah, a little.
I mean, there are points where I saw bullying go too far when I was young.
Of course.
You're like, what the hell? Well, sometimes the boys, they don't get if they don't get their aggression out, or I guess if they have whatchamacallit, a status, if there's damage to like their status or something, the normal method of fighting out doesn't work and the bullying just escalates, especially if they're a group or like a gang or a clique. That's what I've noticed. Because usually I'm all for hitting the bully or defending yourself if he doesn't piss off, but sometimes that just doesn't always work, which is a sad reality that some people don't understand. They think you could violence is always the answer. I'm like, no, sometimes it doesn't work. Yeah, if the bully's status gets damaged in their group, it's just going to escalate things further.
Because they need to regain it. Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Right.
So yeah, and people I don't like it when people are reductionists and they try to simplify things. I'm like, no, things are a lot more complicated than you think. Especially even if it's with kids. I mean, kids are simple, but that doesn't mean they don't have depth to them.
Right.
Yeah. So, you okay there, Adam? What are you up to?
I'm just saying. What's that?
You reading chat?
I was a little bit, yeah.
I always notice he does that sometimes.
I could hear Adam typing. He's
that too. Yeah.
Away at the chat.
The audience can't hear me typing at all.
Oh, okay.
My mic filters it out. But look, if you can hear me typing, you know what's going on. So I prepared for a different conversation. I have a lengthy list of things how to talk your family into stopping being insane leftists. So
yeah, with a coworker that I had, we really got into the whole Israel-Palestine thing. And at one point, kind of when I kept pointing out like some of the things that, I really don't like framing it as Israel Palestine. To me, it's more like Israel and Gaza, and even then, it's more like Israel and Hamas.
Mm-hmm.
But like he said, like you fall for so much propaganda. I'm like, really? You don't think you fall for any propaganda? That really, really pissed me off.
My propaganda is truth. Okay. But I want to hear, Adam, what was you said you have a list, Adam? You have a list of how to talk to people?
That was a lie, sis.
Oh, I felt bad. I thought it was gonna be like, remember we had that conversation
Well, no,
with Carl, like,
feeling bad is the appropriate feeling. That's what I was going for.
And you were like, no, you just pulled the Trump.
I was gaslighting you. Yeah.
Gaslighting me.
I
felt
make you feel
for it.
bad.
Look at me. I'm a big lefty. I'm like, oh, Adam did some work.
Adam did some research. Fuck no, I didn't do any research.
He spent some time. He put some thought into this. No, he didn't do shit.
I gotta say, the other day, I don't know, man. I gotta be honest with you. I think his microphone was fine.
No, no, it wasn't.
I was behind
perfect.
I was behind on the stream, so maybe it corrected itself when I was listening back, and I do put it at 1.5 speed when listening back, try to catch up. So maybe that made it sound better, but I don't know, man. He sounded different, but he didn't sound loud.
Adam's trolling me. Totally trolling
that's
me.
Bullshit. It was bad, Sitch. I would never do it. I would
troll.
never troll you on audio. Only on me doing actual work for the stream.
I think
I would troll you on.
Who lie about bad audio should be arrested. They should be deported.
They should definitely be banned from the chat. That's for sure.
They should be deported forever.
No, what you need to do is you need to like play like some like annoying music in the background and just tell Sitch like, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't hear anything, Sitch.
That would drive Adam way more crazy than it would drive me. I would
just try to somehow mute it for yourself and just have
the music in the background.
I should do that. I should have like some background music. And Adam's
so
like,
many videos I want to see, so many videos I want to watch, but I can't because they have the idiot background music.
Yeah, because they use generic free music when everyone knows you're supposed to use like good, like catchy video game music where you know the company's not gonna do shit and not gonna care.
Right.
Unless it's Nintendo, then you have to like, be a little
do cautious. A remix or something.
I was trying to get Ace on the show. Ace can drop 20 super chats that are critical of me, call me out. But I slap back with just a little tap, just the lightest of taps, and he runs away. What's that? That's not fair.
I think the problem with people like
why is that fair? That's not fair. Come on, I thought we were having fun.
Yeah, I think the problem with people that are critical of you and how you talk about Trump is that it's not like you support Trump. You're just trying to give people like the idea like, well, this is what Trump's going to do, or this is why he's acting this way. It's not like you're endorsing him. You're just pointing out like this is just how he is, like when you were talking about how he's got his scam coins going on, like you said yourself, like the minute he's out of office, they're going to go after him, and he needs money.
Yeah,
he needs to secure the bag, or he's going to be in trouble, and that's understandable. I don't have to like it, but that doesn't mean you endorse it. You're just
it is kind of the reality of the situation now. Yeah, straight out of Dictator's Handbook. Yep.
But I just don't see how that would be beneficial for Democrats because it didn't work out for them at all. It would just make it worse. It would just exacerbate it, if anything. It'd be better off to just drop it and let it go.
What's your take on this? Because the thing that Ace was giving me a hard time about was the Trump. Obviously, he thinks Trump saying arrest Gavin Newsom is like a big deal. Like that's just
it's
a
annoying.
Terrible thing.
It's annoying because we know he says bonkers shit, but like he needs to stop doing it because it's not.
Trump needs to stop doing it.
Well, he's been in how long has he been the president?
But it's so entertaining though.
But how long can you ride this meme of like, but it's a joke, bro. But bro, I'm joking. Guy, friend, buddy, it's a joke. Get over it. But like you said earlier, stuff can evolve into jokes, and it might not even be him. I don't want to say he's like committing sarcastic terrorism, but someone's going to start thinking what he's saying is a good idea. And if that ever becomes like a politician tries to emulate it or tries to do what he says, but like more extreme, that's going to be very, very concerning,
Trump didn't start this though. That's the thing. If Trump had started it, I think I'd be in a different place. But it's so obvious Tom Homan started this, and the press is running to Trump, trying to drag Trump into it. So Trump, I think, has the moral high ground to kind of fuck with him a little bit, because they're just trying to gotcha him. They're trying to get him in a gotcha. And I know when people are trying to gotcha me, I'm like, yeah, fuck you. I'm gonna fuck.
I think you
gotta
got to pick and choose those battles though, because when it's stuff like,
well, I'm
oh
not
my
president
God,
of
he
the
had
United
2
States.
scoops. When the media's freaking out about him having 2 scoops of ice cream back in his first administration, like that's silly shit. No one wants to hear that.
Well,
but
obviously, look, if Trump came out and did a press conference and said, look, I think we should arrest Gavin Newsom because he's a fucking he's a menace to society and would be great for California, just on his own, unprovoked, right? The press didn't ask anything. I'd be like, holy shit, what the fuck, right?
Yeah.
But that's not the situation here. It's the press coming in, asking questions, trying to drag him into this Tom Homan story. And it's just, yeah, look, I agree with Sitch. He probably shouldn't take the bait. But at the same time, I think it humanizes him. It makes him seem authentic, because I do think most people can get the wider context that it's really the press trying to fucking corner him. And they like that. They like that he's not going to let them get away with it. So,
You're wrong.
Well, okay.
What?
Because most people aren't going to see the clip. They're just going to see a headline, or they're going to see a clip out of context, and that's all they're going to perceive of it.
Right.
They're not going to, like, maybe if they saw the whole thing, they'd interpret the way you're saying, but they're not.
So you're saying the gotcha works because they separate out the context, just like they did with the Fine People hoax. They're like, he praised neo-Nazis. So we'll just cut out the part where he says,
yes,
neo-Nazis should be condemned. Totally. We'll just cut that part out.
Yes, that's part of how, that's how media training works, is that you're anticipating people are going to try to remove the context of things to try to make you appear bad. And I don't think, as I said, I mean, do you think Trump is just stupid? He doesn't think they're going to do that, or he just doesn't care, or he knows they're going to do that, and it's part of the troll. At
this point, he doesn't care because he's already a two-term non-consecutive 2-term president. Like, he's already won. He's already completely eviscerated them.
Don't tell Steve Bannon that.
Yeah, that's 3 terms, baby.
Oh yeah, the 3-term thing. The thing is, and I would make this argument about 2020, because I think he did lose the election in 2020 for this reason that we're talking about, because he gets baited by the press and they get the clip and they run with the clip and do their damage. But even looking at the 2020 situation, can you really call 2020 a loss if he turns it around and turns it into a win? Is it really a loss if ultimately he wins?
Well, here's the greater question. If in 2024, Democrats actually fielded a decent candidate, I think that would have changed things, but they did not. Yes. They carted out Kamala. You guys remembered how, like, in the Biden administration, they're telling people, like, what, you want Kamala to run? You want Kamala to run?
Yeah, I think Trump was definitely beatable.
Even with Kamala, he didn't win by that much in the swing states.
Yeah, that's really saying something.
Yeah.
If they had, like, a candidate that had any kind of, like, fire under him, any kind of fire.
Rat Summer, what do you mean?
Any kind of enthusiasm, I think they would have won. But no, she didn't really have any of that. She was kind of wishy-washy and weird, and yeah, she would tell the more radical parts to kind of sit down, but she never really went all in on that, which she should have.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I think I think they would have had this would have really killed the whole thing if they decided to instead have Kamala be like, hey, you know what? Biden, he's going to step down. I'm going to be the president. Biden's not fit to keep running. I'm going to finish out the rest of the term. And that means if I do run for president, I only get to do 1 term. I'm fine with that. That would have gotten her big points. That would be like, oh, look, the adults are in the room. They're going to take this seriously. But like, no, they try to have Biden stay in as long as they could. And then she comes in and they're doing all the normal like nonsense, like, but she's a woman, you have to vote for her. But she's a minority, you don't have to vote for her. Oh, let's not talk about the trans stuff too much, even though that whole ad like kind of like put a lot of screws to them about how like what was it, the trans prisoner ad,
Right?
The they them ad or whatever.
Kamala's for they them. Trump is for you.
Yeah.
Yes, of course.
If the Democrat like shown like they have their shit together and when they know how to course correct correctly, that would probably give people confidence in voting for her as a candidate. But they didn't do any of that. They basically said like, no, you either vote for her or you vote for no one. Well, like, I didn't pick this candidate. I didn't want Kamala. I didn't even get a choice in the matter. What the hell?
No one did.
How is that going to give anyone confidence? That's not smart at all.
I've already figured out what I'm going to do if Kamala Harris becomes the governor of California. I'm going to rent that movie Taxi Driver, and I'm going to watch it over and over and over again.
What if she's a better?
I'm going to get a mohawk.
Yeah, you're going to go.
What if she's a better than Gavin? What if she's tough on crime?
If Kamala Harris is tough on crime,
yeah. Kamala the cop, remember?
Oh yeah. So yeah.
She was hard on drug users and shit, man.
Oh yeah, she's going to come after me, the non-violent drug user.
Yes,
that's exactly.
Oh no,
that's
maybe
exactly
that's
right.
going to backfire. Never mind. Oops. Oh
yeah.
Jesus. Okay, maybe she shouldn't win.
God, that's just such a nightmare to even contemplate. God, but I hope she runs for president. I really do, but I do not want her to run for governor.
Oh God.
Maybe. Yeah, look, I was born in California. I'm a fucking Californian. I don't want to leave my home. It's so,
I don't blame you,
so
man.
Sad.
I love Pennsylvania, even though it's like the old folk state for some people.
Well, good. It's a good place to grow old then.
Yeah.
There's videos of people in downtown LA that had their stores looted and everything stolen. And I'm like, why isn't Hassan, all these people, why don't they do charity streams
for these people?
Why don't they form groups and go after these people?
Yeah. Well, obviously they should do that, but they should at least, at the very least, do charity streams for these people to make up for this. But they're not going to do that. They don't give a fuck.
No. No, they're the petty bourgeois. Who cares about them?
Yes. Also, I saw Libs of TikTok retweeted. There's a video, and this is not from LA, it's from Nebraska, where ICE went into some food facility, Glen Valley food facility, and they just started arresting all the workers there that were illegal.
Oh my God.
And apparently there was like 100 people. Now the owner, of course, is claiming that they had no clue. So
we really need to start going after the businesses that hire these people. This is not fun. This is not.
Well, I think they do give them fake social security numbers. So,
well, that's what he's claiming.
In this day and age on the internet.
So,
I guess, but I'm at some point you have to wonder, man, there's a lot of immigrants at our business. It's a little weird.
Mm-hmm. No, well, how are they? I don't know enough about how E-Verify or these things work. How are they getting all these fake things that are working?
I don't want to think of the possibility. It's all like, low quality. No one's really doing anything. They just do the bare minimum.
Maybe.
Because that's what it is sometimes. It's like no one's just doing their job, or they're just doing the bare minimum.
Right.
I can't believe that all of them were fake and that they didn't know. That's a lot of people, man.
That's a lot. Like if your entire workforce is like illegal and they all had fake documents. I mean, I don't know. It seems
that's
right.
I mean, sometimes it is just incompetence. I mean, I don't know.
They don't care.
I don't know what work experiences you have with like blue collar jobs, but man, sometimes incompetence. It's just you are shocked like how incompetent people really are.
Right.
Yeah. And how just nepotism, it can go run about and people just ignore shit. You know? The warehouse I work at, oh my God, the warehouse I work at every day, it's a problem. It's better now, but man, when I started, I loved it how like I went to work and like, oh, we can't do anything, the system's down. Oh, we can't do these kinds of orders because it's not working right. Oh, we can't do this, we can't do that. And they were all simple, preventable problems, and people kept worrying about them, and no one did anything. They just kept saying, it's fine. We'll go to the new system. We don't have to recatalog everything. It'll just go in fine.
Mm-hmm. Adam just put up a poll trying to socially pressure Ace into coming on the show.
Yes.
To argue with Adam. Like,
no pussy behavior allowed.
That's right.
I put a poll up and said, does Ace have TDS? He did pretty good in the poll, though. He got 30%, so that's solid. That's good for us. That means 30% of our audience actually has TDS now.
Good. We need more TDS.
I know. That's what we want. We want to bring in what we really want is we want to facilitate marriages in YouTube between people with TDS and people who hate people with TDS.
Right.
So you want them to couple up together like Sammy and Sitch?
Yeah.
Yeah. Wait a
Opposites attract.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. Exactly. Let our hypothetical future marriage be a symbol for everyone to follow. Okay.
Yeah. My mom can't get over that your girlfriend is like right leading.
You told your mom?
She's watched your show a couple times. So
okay. What did she say?
She's like, how does Sitch feel about how does Sitch's girlfriend feel like Trump's doing and all that stuff?
She loves it.
It's like, they just get along. It's how it is.
Me and Sam, we've never argued about anything except for politics. We've only had political. Never argue about the dishes or trash or anything in the real world. Only politics. So maybe it's a good thing. Maybe that's like the trick.
It's weird though, because it's the most toxic thing to talk about right now.
Well, Sam has a very, even though she's like a Trump simp, she has a very, very like unique and very like weird position about politics that I'm like, okay, I disagree with you, but like I understand where you're. I can stomach it. Okay, yeah. I understand where you're coming from.
That's neat.
She's honest. I never feel like she's being dishonest.
That's good.
So I think that's where you gotta be.
Yeah.
And also, she's just so wonderful. She's so amazing.
I bet.
She's the best.
All the free artwork you get, I bet.
That's true too. William Vance for 36 months of discipline equals freedom. Thanks so much. As I think Adam is right. I heard all the governors who were Democrats signed a joint letter condemning Trump for trying to intervene. There might be mayor here's and there, and there are condemns rioting, but they are small. They're going to try to walk the line. They're going to simultaneously condemn the rioting, which they're doing, but also say that Trump bad, because that's sort of where the Democrats are going to always have to position themselves.
Empty virtue signaling.
Yes. Now it's
not going
to come off. Yeah, but that's what they're going to do.
Yeah. I wish they didn't have to do shit like that.
Right. Ace, yeah, because like in terms of like the sending of the troops, like I don't, I saw, it was funny, the first time I heard about this, I just saw this, like, it was a Kyle Kalinske video popped up on my feed. And it was like, Trump is going to do the Insurrection Act. And I was like, what? What's this video? And I listened to him like, wait, it's just about like protecting federal buildings in LA. Like, who cares? Oh, no. Like, people complain about that. It is very cringe.
I thought it was funny how my mom was telling me, like, what is wrong with the LA cops? The whatchamacallit, the National Guard, which is a better like run unit. They know how to control themselves. But it looks like the LA cops didn't really seem to know how to control themselves well. Mm-hmm. I mean, she mentioned to me that there was this reporter that was just kind of crouching, trying to hide from the riots, and it was like in a graveyard hiding, and he just shot her in the face with a rubber bullet. And
jeez.
They're like, oh, she needs an ambulance. Like, oh, she's fine. She don't need an ambulance.
Right.
I'm like, what the fuck? No. And I kept telling her, just letting you know, who runs California? Is it the right that runs California? Why are the cops like this? If the left runs California, what the hell are we doing?
Right.
I think it's just related to whole, like the left trying to do things and doing too much and not getting anything done.
Well, it's annoying because this is the way it works just in politics, that there'll be some condemnations from the left, but there's also going to be a lot of like downplaying it. Because they don't want to give the right like the ammunition, kind of the same way that the right was like, downplaying January 6th and all this stuff. This is what everyone does. They don't just like acknowledge that, like, yes, this is bad. Our side contributed to the badness, we should not have this anymore. It's like, no. Just the continual downplaying.
I just wish we can develop a philosophy that's just self-critical. I would
would be
love
nice.
that. It would be very nice. That's how I am. I always tell my mom, like, I don't vote Republican. I vote left, or I don't vote at all. So I'm going to be very critical of the left because they're the party I vote the most for. I don't have much on the right that I like to vote for. The only thing I think I agree on the right is the Second Amendment and immigration to a degree.
Mm-hmm.
I just not as aggressive with them about immigration. I'm more of like,
Right.
Helping the people that want to be here, and, no sympathy to the people that just want to exploit or take advantage. Fuck those people.
Ace for $5 says, I don't care about the context. Trump at this point should know better. That is on him and only him, not the media.
Kind of the same with Elon.
True. Well, I mean, Elon's retarded, so I don't know.
That's true.
But he just seems autistic. Kick Nastanza for $2 says, is there a defense for Trump besides just a joke? I guess not. It's interesting. There's so many people that have been completely, and I hate to say it, I've been completely like NPC tricked by the January 6th stuff, because at the time that it happened, everyone on the right was like, oh, this is bad. This shouldn't happen. But then as it became very clearly weaponized by the left and used against the right, suddenly the narrative had to change and shift and be like, well, it's not that big of a deal. Who cares if people broke into, a Capitol building? Who cares if Trump tried to throw out half the country's votes and all this other stuff? And it was all just to kind of serve a political narrative. And this is unfortunately like the first lens at which people kind of perceive reality through is almost always like, what is going to help my team and what is going to hurt the other team. And that kind of becomes the predominant view on politics. That's what happened with January 6th, unfortunately.
Yeah. And
they were forced to defend it.
Yeah.
And I always
they're not forced to, they feel compelled to.
And I always tell people when talking about this, like both sides try to act like it was either one way or the other. It's like, no, there were people that were just walking in there, and there were people that should not have been in there that were like breaking in and doing stuff. I don't feel bad for Ashley Bobbitt. She knew it. I don't know what she was thinking, like crawling through chairs and, there's like Secret Servicemen with gun. Like, they're not going to do anything, right? No, they're going to cap you. What are you doing? Get away. Back home. I don't.
Well, it was also, there was the thing, like, what Trump was talking about before. Like, I'm sure there were definitely people who deserved to be pardoned, who were
I was about to talk about that.
Yeah, that were totally, they just walked in or whatever. But then instead of like taking the time to figure out who those people were, they're just like, oh, blanket pardon for everybody. So.
Yeah, well, that was what the lady said. What was her name? She was like, we're going to do this with a fine tooth comb. We're not going to just like
Pam Bondi.
Yeah, I feel bad for her. He made her really look fucking stupid. What the hell?
Right.
Like, this is the problem with Trump. He does things that I want to like, but instead of doing it carefully and like properly, they like to take a hammer to everything and just let the pieces fall where they go and then try to fix it back up and not realize, like, no, you kind of broke this pretty badly, man. It's not a good idea to do this way. You can't just keep doing this shit. It's not
right.
with like Elon, like firing like what was it, like nuclear scientists or some shit and then hiring them back.
Right.
Like, why did you fire them in the first place?
Because they're going really fast. Yeah, they're going really fast.
Yeah.
Stug for $2 says, "Orange, you glad Trump is trolling Gavin?" There you go. Thank you.
Yes.
Stortsack Goblin for $2 says, "This is just another Trump Rorschach test." It is. I mean, but it's their Trump Rorschach test that he's, at least I feel, that he's throwing out intentionally. So,
well,
it's kind of farming engagement.
What would be the worst thing that can happen where he does something like this and the Democrats do the correct response to it? What would be? When would this be kind of damaging, where it's not advantageous to keep antagonizing the left?
When would it be advantageous for Trump to not antagonize the left?
Well, when's it going to happen where he does it and the left responds in a better way?
Oh.
Yeah.
Never. I don't know. What do you mean? It's not going to happen.
I don't know. I feel like if you keep tempting fate, someone's going to have like the intelligence to not do what like Gavin did, like try to like puff up in chest and like pretend like, yeah, try arrest me. It's like,
Well, I think it, but here's the problem is I think it helps Gavin. I mean, he did it in a very cringe way, but
yeah.
theoretically, it helps him to send out a bunch of emails to his supporters and his base to say Trump is going to arrest me, so I need your money now, right? You know that if you're in California and you voted Democrat, you got a text message that said, Donald Trump is threatening to arrest Gavin Newsom. Please, give me $20.
So stupid.
Ace for
Fooling
$5.
his money.
Yeah, exactly. Ace for $5 says Sitch
Stitch
actually
says
Stitch. Yeah, wait, Ace, come on, Ace.
Stitch actually engages.
Stitch,
read it
yes,
correctly.
Come on, Ace. Stitch actually engage. He meant like the Disney character. Stitch is very fair. Okay.
Stitch actually engages in being fair because he understands
Actually
why people
engages
are
in
upset
being
with
fair.
Trump.
Yes,
Adam, you don't ever do that. Look, I would
it
say,
is true.
well, you got to ask yourself, Ace, why does Sitch understand why people are upset with Trump?
Because I'm an empathetic, understanding person.
No!
Okay, I understand all sides.
No!
I understand all sides at all times as an enlightened centrist.
No, because Stitch himself doesn't like Trump. So he understands because it personally, he feels that Trump, disgust. And Adam just doesn't give a fuck. I don't fucking care.
Well, I didn't feel disgust at that comment that he made about, Newsom.
Okay. Not even a little, not even just a little tinge, not even a little,
Newsom
just a
brings it
little
upon
wince.
himself. Why would anyone
Not
feel bad
really.
for
A little
him?
flash of disgust.
No, I think it's
Okay.
stupid. I think it's kind of cringe on both.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
Oh, it's his fault why California was burning for so long.
Yes. I don't like Newsom.
I mean, how hard is it to pick up fucking leaves?
Yes.
Like, I mean,
They got prisoners. They got illegals. Make them pick up
Exactly.
leaves.
I mean, when insurance companies are dipping out because like you're not cleaning up your leaves, what are you doing?
Mhm.
Yeah,
is it
exactly. I empathize with the people who lost their homes.
That's just such, it bothers me that there's such a simple solution here. It just requires manpower. Is it that hard? This is like what we're talking about with like Ezra Klein, like being like how Democrats just can't get anything done.
We gather
try
up
to
all
do
the
too much.
illegals. And before we deport them, we do one last cleanup of the forests.
There you go. When I was in Boy Scouts, we do this thing where like right before we leave a campsite, you had to like stand arms width apart and you had to walk in a line. You had to pick up any trash you found. Okay. Like I do that, but with leaves.
Mm-hmm.
Pick up all the leaves.
Adam, how much community service would illegal have to do to be a citizen?
I don't know.
Should that even be an option?
Well, they give them a path to quicker citizenship if they join the military. I think a lot of guys actually do that. So
I've seen some actually pay their back taxes.
imagine that. Imagine that you sign up for the military, you join up for 5 years, and then somebody just gets amnesty because Kamala Harris wins.
All the NPCs say Rome, Rome repeatedly in the chat whenever you bring that up.
Do they?
Yes.
Why?
Because Rome.
Because that's what they did in Rome.
Because all men think about is Rome.
They joined the military.
Exactly. Because a lot of people point to foreign armies and legionaries in the Roman armies leading to the downfall. Anyway,
so we shouldn't do that then.
I think we should.
That?
I think we should. I'm just voicing the triggering.
Voicing the people.
Yes, I'm voicing the people. Short Stack Goblin for $2 says only works on people that already don't like him. That might be the case, but there's a lot. You understand? There's a lot of people that don't like him, and the more those people get hyped up, the more likely it is that they're going to vote against him or get their friends to vote against him, and the more likely they're going to advocate for people doing crazy shit.
Mm-hmm.
I think that not liking stuff has its limits at some point.
Yes. Harrison Jodit for $2 says, "Where was G and how brutal was her demise?" Well, you're going to find out.
We never got to G.
You're going to find out on Thursday. We actually did find out who G is. It is not a lady. It is a guy.
Right.
We did find out who
Master
G is.
Gorham.
Yes. Even though everyone but me fell into the water and can't swim because they're all incompetent.
Oh, yeah. We're all dying right now. We're all almost drowned.
Even though it's actually technically my fault because maybe I could have saved them all. But I didn't want to cast a spell because use up spell slots. But find out the thrilling, dramatic conclusion this Thursday. Okay.
I need to catch up with that.
We should have known when they doled out the spider walking spell, right? Should have thought, oh wow, we probably need this.
That wasn't wasn't the spell.
There was a spider walking spell.
But that wasn't the spell because I can only cast that twice. I could have a little magic floating disc that you guys can all stand on that floats.
Right, but two of us could have got the spider walk.
Well, what I could do is I could give myself spider walk. I could have made the floating disc, and then the disc would follow me, and I'd walk on the walls.
Did you get the disc, or you had it with your character?
I have it, but I don't have unlimited spells. Okay, I don't have unlimited spells. Everybody,
no, you can only cast so many a day or a session.
Exactly, it's terrible.
Yeah. You have to go rest.
Well, I could see why you were going. I didn't realize Ace was been throwing you this whole time. Jeez. Ace for $5 says, Adam, your Herculean leaps of logic to defend Trump are why you're called a MAGA stooge. Logic which only makes sense to you. Now Ace, you say
where is he defending Trump? I can't see it. I'm fine. I'm looking for it.
You said you're saying why you're called a MAGA stooge. Now, when you say that, is there like a group of people, or is it just you that's calling Adam a MAGA stooge? That's what I'm wondering.
He must hang out on the Destiny subreddit.
Okay. Mongolian leprechaun surfman from Saturn for $25. Thank you so much. Says, hey, Sitch and Adam, if someone were to give you $25 million to join a satanic death cult, would you guys join it? But the catch is that you have to part. For at least 5 years. I mean, it depends what you have to do. If I just have to show up every Sunday, well, I can't do that on Sundays. But if I had to show up every Saturday or Friday or something to just, sit in the pews when they do their little Hail Satans for like an hour, then sure. If they're like, no, you have to like go do ritual sacrifices, I'm like, fuck no.
Yeah, I would definitely turn it down. I don't have that much time left, so I don't want to blow 5 years fucking around with some cult.
Right. Now, what if you could do the cult meetings via Zoom?
Still wouldn't do it. I couldn't stomach wasting an hour on some fucking bullshit.
There you go. Short Sack Album for $2 says no one cares besides people that don't like him.
True.
Oh, I think we already talked about that.
True.
Ace for $5 says Adam,
here's the one I wanted.
Adam, you dislike being called a MAGA stooge, but you do the same when you dismiss points as TDS. Don't ask for good faith when you don't offer it.
Right here. Someone responded, I love when you call me a MAGA stooge. Ace? What are you talking about?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, get free money.
Noel screaming to the void for 17 months
so.
Says Democrats will never let California succeed. They lose a ton of seats and electoral votes and be a minority for a century. Oh wait, what do you mean?
Secede from the union?
I thought. Okay, I misread it. Secede. Yes, that's correct. That's correct. Yeah. Ben Riley.
She did write succeed, didn't she?
I don't know. But You're probably right. It meant secede. That makes sense. Yes. Also, it would be highly illegal and cause a civil war. But Ben Riley for $5 says Hassan Dogan Piker was born on July 25th, 1991 in New Brunswick, New Jersey, U.S. So where is he getting deported? Everyone that hates America, they have to choose. Okay. You bring them in front of a big map and you say, you point to the spot that you want to get deported to. That's how nice I am. That's such an empathetic, loving individual. I will let them choose the country of their deportation. Right now,
Sitch wants to deport American citizens, guys. You heard it here first.
You're correct.
He's worse than Trump.
No. And now it's going to be a problem because I know a lot of the countries aren't going to like that or want that. So we might have to do here's a parachute and then you kick him out of the plane. I have to do something like that.
I don't like giving the government that kind of power though.
Can't we just find a small island and deport them all there and then bomb the island?
Well, I mean, we don't have to bomb the island. Right?
Why?
Why don't we make a little island? We can make it
we got to sink the island.
No. We'll make a little island. We'll make it like a libertarian Ayn Randian paradise, like BioShock.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And you're going to deport a bunch of communists to it. I love it.
And they could just deport, and then they could just do whatever they want there, right?
A man chooses, a slave obeys.
Exactly. Our hilts hurt for.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. Our hilts hurt. Hey, what's up? For $2. Thank you so much. Says, is this guy Rob Noir in disguise? Voice is close. Yeah, you do sound a little bit like Rob.
Rob Noir. Who's that?
We've had
Rob
him on.
Noir.
I'm trying to remember.
Rob Noir. Rob Noir. We've had him on. We've debated with him about. He's like really big Trump simp.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
he's a Trump fan.
That's
He's
not the
almost
guy.
as Trumpy as Adam is, but not quite.
Almost.
That's not the guy who said we need to Christians need to burn the Constitution to start over, is it?
No.
Oh
That's
my
someone
God.
else.
He's not like a no. He's not like a. I don't think he's a Christian nationalist or anything. He's just like a more like is a standard Republican conservative guy.
That guy, I don't know. I think Adam was the one that posted that. That one threw me for a loop. What the fuck? Christians need to burn the Constitution. It was made by atheists. What the hell? Oh,
that is pretty crazy. Wasn't that the Orrin McIntyre guy or something?
Yeah,
something like that. Majin for $5.
Physically fucking hurt me, man.
Majin for $5 says, finally the left wing catharsis Sitch and Adam couldn't get from Destiny. He's too left wing for normal people. Watch Punch forever. Yeah, Sam said that's pretty good. I did see a clip of it. It looked interesting.
I heard about it.
YouTube
the left wing catharsis. Is it though? I mean, Sitch seems to think I should give him a shot that there is going to be some sort of catharsis. I'm skeptical. I'm
not saying you should give anyone a shot. I'm saying I think that's what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
It's going to keep escalating.
They're liars.
Okay, we'll see. Maybe not. Who knows?
I don't know, man.
Some guy in the chat says Rob is a MAGA sycophant. Only one bigger than Adam. How nice of you.
Why is everyone bullying you so much? Come on, man.
I love it. I love it, to be honest.
I don't know. I feel like some people go too hard on you, Adam.
Nah.
Sometimes I don't. There are times where I don't really.
What are you
agree
talking
with you,
about?
I don't agree with you, but I don't get this kind of.
What? You disagree with me? Oh, impossible.
Impossible. Yeah.
I mean, I agree with Sitch more often.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
But there are things though I am very disagree with Sitch on, like
unacceptable.
I like the idea of rewarding citizens if they do things that kind of, I don't know how to describe it. Like I don't like the idea of forcing citizens doing like that idea where they go to boot camp in school.
Oh, you don't like the 2 years everyone has to do either military or government service?
Such a bootlicker.
I don't have a problem with it if they get something in return, because some people, you
get a sense of community. Okay,
he doesn't like the bootlicking, Sitch. He doesn't like the bootlicking.
They're not getting rewarded for it though.
They're getting worldly. Well, they're going to get paid. They're going to get room and board. What do you mean? They're not. It's not like you get 2 years.
I would do it if they got maybe college or healthcare out, and if they did more of it. If they did more of it, they get more free college or healthcare. I'm the type of guy that thinks we should reward families for buying a car, especially if it's an area they need a car, buying a house.
Mm-hmm.
Giving them, finding ways to reward citizens like tax cuts and stuff for doing these things. It's really frustrating when I have a problem right now in my yard. I have a huge fucking pine tree. Half of it's dying. I think the old swimming pool I have in there is propping it up. It's an above ground pool. And I'm talking to my mom and sister about we need to get rid of this tree. It's going to fall on a house at some point. And the insurance will take care of it. It's more expensive to take it down than just waiting for insurance to take care of it. I'm like, what the fuck is that? That's insane.
You get a whole new roof. I mean, this is solid logic here.
Yeah, but
you should listen to your mom. Jeez.
Why can't we have a government program that encourages us to give us a cutback to do something to fix things?
It'll be less money.
Be preemptive, less money in the long run.
Right.
Right there, that's a problem I think government can help insist solving.
Same thing with health. Yeah.
Maybe giving you a tax cut for taking care of your fucking trees and shit, or dangerous stuff in your yard.
It's a good idea. I like the idea of being if you do this service, the 2 year service, that you get college or something. I like the concept of it. My only problem would be, I know that a lot of people that are gonna, because if it's mandatory, so everyone's got to do it. There's going to be a lot of people who do it. And they probably couldn't get away with this in the military, but if they don't choose them, if they choose the non-military option, be a lot of people who just dick around for 2 years and do fucking nothing.
Yeah,
and I don't know if those people deserve to be rewarded with free college.
Well, you could still make it mandatory, but you could also pick what you get out of it.
Right.
And my only problem with especially if they're high school kids, like I grew up not in the most affluent area. I knew kids that when they were in high school, they had to get a job to help provide for their family. They had to use programs where they got a job and go to school. So not everyone is in the position where they can sacrifice, that time and energy.
That's a good point.
They could be
That's
making money.
Point. That's a fair point. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
That's something that, definitely. Okay.
Yeah.
That's good. Something to consider. Listen, I'm open to compromise.
Yeah.
Right?
I like the idea of making people want to feel part of the community, but I also like the idea of rewarding people because that's what this country's founded on.
Yes.
Rewarding the things that you do, And I think if you do stuff with the military or, you do community service, obviously I think if you do military, that might be a little more, that should give you a little more for doing less.
Right.
2 years should be different from 4 years of community service.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah. And I don't mind trying to find the hardest stuff to do so people aren't coasting on it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm worried of people using that as a bargaining chip for politics and stuff. You can smell that a mile away of political abuse, corruption using that.
Oh, and I found the clip you're talking about. The guy who wanted to burn the Constitution was the Distributist, Dave the Distributist.
Someone in chat said it.
Who we've talked to a couple times.
Another clip I found very troubling. I have nothing against people of any kind of religion and stuff. I used to be very anti-atheist when I was in high school, but I chilled on that over time.
Anti-theist or anti-atheist?
Anti-theist.
Okay.
Well, I had a very odd I had an experience with a kid who was I think he was not a Mormon. What's the other kooky?
Jehovah's Witness.
He might have been a Jehovah's Witness.
God, we love Jehovah's Witnesses. Don't go.
He might have been.
The JWs, come on.
Yeah. Well, he was either Jehovah's Witness or some other one that kept making
just want to witness for Jehovah.
Yeah, but he kept making weird statements how more of them died in the Holocaust and shit. I'm like, what?
How what?
More of them died in the Holocaust? I don't know if it was Jehovah's Witness or something.
Oh, yeah.
else.
No, that's true.
What?
A lot of
Jehovah's Witnesses in Europe.
A lot of Jehovah's Witnesses did die in the Holocaust. Not more. They don't say more than Jewish people, but they do note that a lot of Jehovah's Witnesses did die in the Holocaust, but nobody ever says anything.
Are we sure it wasn't Mormon? I think it may be Mormon.
No, Jehovah's Witnesses.
Wow.
I thought Jehovah's Witnesses, Mormon, was an American sect. Am I wrong about that?
Jehovah's Witness is weird.
Jehovah's Witnesses are a Mormon sect? Get out of here.
No, I'm saying an American sect.
Yeah.
Jehovah's Witnesses are? No, Mormons
I thought
are.
they were.
Mormons are an American religion.
Yeah, I know. Are Jehovah's Witnesses not American?
Maybe they are. They could be.
Yeah, but the kid made a comment how all human scientific achievement doesn't matter because when you die you go to a better place, and that really pissed me off. That made me very anti-theist because I feel like it's important to have pride in what humans accomplish. I like humans doing things.
Pride is a sin. How dare you?
I know pride is a sin, but sometimes, the things we do, it's worth it. The discoveries we make, humans aren't that bad. There's a lot of good things we do, and those discoveries deserve merit and being appreciated. But
okay. Jehovah's Witness was founded in Pittsburgh in 1872 by Charles Taze Russell.
Yeah.
Well, I guess there are a lot of Germans in Pittsburgh, so maybe it made its way back to Germany.
Yeah.
1902, the first branch office of the Watchtower Society opened in Germany. Oh, there you go. In Germany, Jehovah's Witnesses became known as the Society of International Bible Students. By the early 1930s, some 25,000 to 30,000 Germans were members of the Jehovah's Witness or interest sympathizers. When the Nazis came to power, they were targeted. They were given a choice to renounce their faith or, I guess, be killed. Most of them chose to die. So there you go. I had no clue about that. That's interesting.
So yeah, getting back to what I was saying earlier. So I saw this clip of these Muslim guys.
How many were there? How many Jehovah's Witnesses?
It said 25, 30,000.
30,000. Oh my
That's a
God.
lot.
It's a lot of people. Yeah.
That's sad. But I saw this clip of these Muslim guys, like they're all gloating about how like they've gotten to change street signs to name of like Muslim like tyrants and shit, and they're all gloating about it. I'm like, that's a little creepy. I don't know why they think they feel like they have to do it. And they're like, and they let us do it to come here and do all this stuff and convert their whole areas to Islam and shit. I'm like, what the fuck is this? And all I can think is someone needs to go into the Satanic Temple and send them down there and start putting demon names on the street signs to mess with them.
That's funny.
That's something the Satanic Temple does and needs to go do right now.
Yeah.
That's their whole prerogative to like remind, like, hey, this is the reason why you don't want religion in government. Because I don't think you want, street signs named after Goetia or Asmodeus.
Right.
Yeah.
Ben Riley for
these goofies people.
Ben Riley for $10 says, so logically, with zero irony, you're fine with renditioning people to other countries, even if they didn't engage in murder or terrorism, but off of their opinions.
Yes.
I mean, I was being hyperbolic.
You can hear the irony in my voice.
Can't you understand? Yeah, can't you understand the Trump joke? I do not think that these people should actually be deported.
Is there a defense of Sitch other than it was
my
just a
angry
joke?
elephant. There's no defense of it. My angry elephant feels like these people should be deported. Yes, but should they? Do I think that they actually should round up Hassan and these people and deport them? No.
Well, Hassan. Only Hassan though. But
come on, I thought we're all on the same page here. Get 123 for 10 Canadian says deport Hassan to Yemen so he can see the very musical Houthis in person. You know what? I take it back, Ben Riley. I'm on board. That's such a good poetic idea. I do support that. Yeah.
No, we don't need to deport him. We do like what should we call it? Like international thing where he gets to experience other people's cultures.
There you go. Yeah. I like that. Yeah, exactly. A cultural exchange of ideas.
Yes, exactly. He gets to see how the Yemenis people live and go report on it.
Right. Our Hills Hurt for $5 says Adam's skin is as thick as his glasses. That's why we love him. Embrace the hate, and the haters will never win.
True.
Never apologize.
Yeah. Hills Hurt.
Never give
I'm sure you guys get like a lot of haters for some of your takes. You guys revel in it.
I get hate too. I talk about economics, obviously, I just get a fucking slew of hate.
Oh, I'm sure.
We should do a stream. I want to invite people on to talk economics with us. Sitch,
nobody likes the topic, though.
I do. I actually love the concept of modern monetary.
Nobody but Metalworks and 5 other people in chat like that.
They know nothing about they know nothing how the debt
we can do that
structurally or anything. They just like easy pushovers.
You set it up. Get some people to come on and argue with you.
I mean, I just like how much it triggers those kinds of those.
God, people got like the so mad. Shit. People got so mad on the Sunday stream. We should read some comments because they're fucking. Oh God, they're so bad. They're so mad at me.
I know.
They're so angry.
Sella for $2 says, what are your thoughts on Stephen Miller floating the idea of suspending habeas corpus to deport illegal immigrants? I mean, that's obviously batshit crazy.
I mean, it
unless they hate America,
idea.
then you can do it. Okay.
Seems like a great idea to me.
There you go. If they hate America, you can do it. If they don't hate America, then that's fucking crazy.
No, look, obviously I'm joking. And I guess you have to say that now. Doesn't sound as cool though, but whatever.
Right.
I always had a hard time trying to.
I literally have autism, so no.
Hilarious. Ben Riley for $5. Thank you. You know what? I appreciate. Thank you, Ben. I appreciate that.
That's amazing.
So there you go. Okay, that's a good point.
I always had a hhard time trying to explain MMT to people. I don't know if I really like Adam's score idea. I feel more like it just sounds more like credit from like a country. That's what I feel like it more acts like.
Credit.
A country's credit.
I mean, a lot of the things that I am most interested in are not really unique to MMT, so I don't really talk about it in the context of MMT anymore. So, like a lot of the things that MMT people say about the structure of the debt and it being treasury bills and the operations of the Fed and stuff like that. I mean, that's in books that are completely not MMT books. So. I mean, I kind of messed up by talking about MMT at all, because now I just talk about things that are basic economics and everyone assumes it's MMT. Like you talk about supply and demand and they're like, oh, MMT. Supply and demand is MMT? What the fuck are you on about, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but obviously, not many people know about economics beyond home economics, right? Everyone is forced to know about, budgeting for themselves, right? They have to pay their own bills and make enough money to pay their bills and stuff like that. So, but they assume all of that same kind of thinking goes into government and macroeconomics and stuff like that, when it's just completely non-applicable.
Well, it's just silly to think we're ever going to like default on our debt. But that's not how a country works. We can just keep going investing. Like, that's why I feel like,
well, a lot of voters
comparing it to like credit and borrowing.
A small percentage of the debt is held by foreigners. I think it's like 20 to 30%. So 70% is held by Americans. So a lot of those Americans would be pretty pissed if their government decided that they weren't going to pay back their bonds, right? The way the debt is structured is you buy a bond, you give the government $10,000, right? And they're going to give you a little bit of interest every month or every quarter, whatever it is, however it's set up. The different bonds are set up differently. So,
yeah.
And then when the period is up, 10 years, 30 years, 5 years, whatever the bond is, they give you the principal back. Well, if the government decided, we're not going to pay back these bondholders, they're in pensions and shit like that. It would be just as ridiculous as cutting Social Security. Those people are going to be fucking pissed, right?
Yeah, they all invested into this. It's important we pay. Yeah.
So the idea that we're going to default on that, come on, get the fuck out of here. You're dreaming.
Well, I always viewed it as like we're kind of like we're just borrowing or putting like credit against our economy. Like our economy is the investment.
That's not, credit is not a good example, because so many politicians have come out and said, we're buying things for the government and we're putting them on the credit card. Credit card is something like you ultimately have to pay back. And if you conceptualize, it's more like, that's why I use the example of the bank, right? When you put your money in a bank account, you're technically loaning your money to the bank, and the bank is borrowing money from you, right?
Yeah, you said this the other day.
Yeah, the bank
gets mad when the bank spends the money.
The bank doesn't necessarily need to borrow your money, right? I mean, they're doing a service for you the same way they're doing a service for the bondholders, because people don't want to hold their money. Well, it's actually both parties get something out of it. The government wants to sell you a bond so that you're not spending cash and driving up inflation. You're basically saying, I'm going to not spend this money for 10 years, which is good for them. They're like, okay, that's not driving up inflation. But at the same time, you're going to get some interest on that money, and nobody wants their money sitting in a bank account where they're not getting any interest.
And so if you think of it,
so if you think of the national debt more like a product that people want because they want investment. It's like when Elon Musk comes out and says the interest is the biggest part of the budget. That interest is going to bondholders that are fucking American citizens who are loving it. They're like, I love the interest coming to me.
And how much is the debt? How much is the debt in the form of bonds? Is it all of it in the form of bonds?
Yeah, it's all treasury bills.
Really?
Yeah. That's all they sell. Yeah. Treasury bonds.
And it just sounds like bonds is like a good way to control cash flow. So
of course, yeah.
I think I'm starting to get it better.
It's frozen money.
Yeah.
If the thing is, here's the difference, right? Because corporations sell bonds too to raise money, right? So if a corporation comes out, let's just say Apple. I don't know if Apple sells bonds. Maybe they do. Maybe they don't. But if you buy a bond from Apple, they want to raise some money for some project. The difference is when you give your money to Apple, that money is going to stay in the economy and could cause inflation, right? Apple's going to take your money and they're going to spend it elsewhere to buy things for whatever project they're doing. But when the government, the Fed takes your money, right? They sell you a treasury bill, they take your money. It basically comes out of the economy. Now it goes into the treasury general account where it can't be loaned out or used or anything. And if the government spends money, like people will point to that, they'll say, Adam, but what? They take that money and they spend it immediately. Well, if they're running a deficit, yes, they're spending the money illegally. But if you conceptualize it that they're not running a deficit, they have a balanced budget, that money would be just basically on ice.
Yeah.
So you see the difference there?
I think so. I'll have to listen to it again a couple times.
Corporate bonds, the cash stays in the economy. And T-bills, the cash comes out of the economy. So if you think of all the money in the economy as just like that's basically the circulatory system of the economy, right? You need money. We all need money.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So, and then
everyone's freaking out.
Michael Caruza for $10 says, finally got my comic. Great work from a very early supporter. The variant cover looks awesome. Well, thank you, Michael. Glad you got it. I'm glad you like it.
Yeah, so look, people are still messaging me because some comics got lost or so obviously message me if you didn't get a comic or you didn't get a tracking number. You should have got a tracking number through Indiegogo or through stamps.com. So someone actually, or also there was problems with some of the addresses too. Like stamps.com didn't want to take the address. And I obviously, look, the fucking international shipping is outrageous. I don't want to drop $30 on a package to send to Australia. That the stamps.com is giving me beef over the fucking address. So
I really don't want to touch mine, so I haven't really read it yet.
Oh, okay.
I also keep forgetting to read it.
Terrible. Wow.
I have it sealed and I have it stored away, and it's, I'm gonna preserve it.
That's fine. Stuck for $2 says, I like economics because everyone's wrong. Troll face.
True. True. Most people are wrong.
Meme Friend for $5 says, I've learned a lot from Adam's MMT talks, but I can't accept it without hearing the other side too. You should bring on an anti-MMT person to debate.
I just well,
he's not really pro MMT anymore.
Yeah, the thing that the Fed operation, look, MMT, they have a bunch of policy prescriptions that I don't necessarily agree with. They think that there's all this money out there that can be used to do things like climate change. Like I tried to watch the MMT movie Finding the Money. That clip went viral where the guy was some Biden advisor and he didn't understand how bonds worked or the treasury worked, and it was completely ridiculous.
Wow.
I tried to watch the movie, but the movie 15 minutes in starts virtue signaling about climate change. And I'm like, why are they doing this? Why are they doing this? Why are they completely, it's just, I'm not sure that, I don't like to talk about MMT or the MMT policy prescriptions anymore.
Someone needs to make that clip, and it seemed like they kind of took them out of context to get that clip too.
It looks like someone needs to come along and make a version that's not ideologically possessed by the left, basically.
Yeah.
With how it's been.
Every once in a while I contemplate making videos on economics, but I just know that they would not. First of all, I'd be making it's completely counterintuitive, so people will not like them. They'll say this is bullshit, and they just would not be very popular because not many people are interested in economics, and the people who are interested in economics have already sucked the fucking mainstream media schlong on the fucking economic story. So
another problem is I think you mentioned that some of these writers are socialists too.
Oh yeah, the MMT people. It's funny. We had that one guy on. God, I wish I could. I can't remember his name. The MMT guy.
I think I know who you're talking about.
He's great, and I DM with him every once in a while, and we just commiserate about how all the fucking commies are all over MMT because he's a trader. He runs the channel MMT Trader. God, I wish I could remember his name. Fuck.
It reminds me of
Douglas. That's it, Doug.
It reminds me of a video from Dev where he was talking about the forms of fascism. And at one point, he brings out like how you have all these people who examine fascism, and they're all communists and socialists. So it's all done from their lens. So it really kind of, warps like the validity of what they're talking about, Right. And I think that's what's hurting MMT. It's coming from a lens of a socialist, when it would be more interesting if you had MMT come from like the lens of someone more right leaning, I think.
Or just like a dry, unapolitical economist view.
Oh, how hard is that? That's going to be hard to get.
That's true. Our health's hurt for another $5. Thank you. Says Adam. Quote, come on, Sitch. This isn't entertaining. People are getting bored. Also, Adam, let's do a stream on economics.
Well, you can make economics entertaining. Come on.
If people, I think the reason why the economics is not entertaining is because I'm saying a bunch of shit that people they want to push back on, right? But Sitch isn't really pushing back. So if people could come on and question me and push back, I think they'd be a lot more into it.
You need confrontation.
Wow. Listen, if you want me to assume the role of debunker for MMT, I can do it. I'll do it. I'll fucking debunk the shit out of you.
I don't want you chugging the establishment, the
there was
economic establishment cock, Sitch. We don't want to see that.
There's one thing I wanted to ask. So it's like the way when the government taxes you, I think I remember you describing it. That's them like taking money out of the economy.
Yeah. Deleting money. People cannot stomach the idea that money is deleted.
It's burned away.
Well, just the whole idea.
It's dramatic.
Yeah.
You have the starting point that you have to consider is the thing that everybody believes. When you say government spending is money printing, people believe that. People completely believe that. They believe government spends money, printer go burr, monetary inflation, which is increasing the money supply, right? The number of dollars in the economy causes price inflation, which is,
and the more money there is,
prices
the more you
go up, right?
The dollar.
People fucking die before they let go of that belief, which that belief is true. I don't want you to think it is true, obviously. Obviously you're ignoring a huge part of the equation, right? Supply, right? If you double the money supply and you 10x the actual supply of goods and services that people want, right? You're going to get deflation. Prices are going to go down because there's just going to be so many products that are going to flood the market. Producers are going to be dropping their prices because there's not enough people to buy all this.
And
stuff.
If the product is more abundant and cheaper, that makes the value of the dollar go up, doesn't it?
I'm not sure. I've never done any currency trading, so I hesitate to get involved in like strong dollar, weak dollar.
Yeah.
I believe it's to other currencies. When they talk about strong dollar, it doesn't mean your dollar can buy more in America. It means your dollar can buy more abroad. It doesn't.
Yeah, like in Ethiopia or Germany or something like that.
Right. Usually when you're talking about in one context, you're talking about price inflation, right? Yeah. Coffee was $5 today. Now it's $10 tomorrow. And you're like, what the fuck?
And it's so funny. Oh, sorry.
Like, and we got caught in that as well, because obviously we started the comic before the inflation hit, right? So obviously we're paying much higher costs to deliver a product than when we actually started. So this is why you want price stability, right? If you're in a business and you start a project and 5 years down the line, your budget is completely different. That fucks you as a business owner. So what were you going to say?
I find it funny how they don't like it when the government deletes this money, but crypto bros, some of the cryptocurrency, they'll burn that crypto to try to increase its value.
Yeah, perfect example. So it exists. Well, like I was saying, so you start with the point, we're obviously in that belief that people believe money can be created, right? Yeah. So I always ask, so once money is created, what is the law that it always has to exist, that it can never not exist anymore, right? You know, like if I take out a loan, new money is created. Not many people realize this. People think money, obviously money from other savers is used, but that's not the system that we have now. When I say I'm going to, I take a loan to start a business, I take a loan to buy a house, new money most of the time is created from that scenario.
Yeah.
And when that money is paid back, what should you do with it? Should it continue to exist in the economy? No, of course not. It should be deleted, right?
I guess.
I mean, that's the whole idea. This is the whole idea behind interest rates, which people love the establishment narrative on interest rates, right? You raise interest rates because that stifles people from taking out loans. Well, why do you want to stifle people from taking out loans? Because taking out loans expands the money supply, because every time a new loan is created, new money is created.
Yeah, you want the economy to keep going. You want people to put money into things that will help and like improve the economy and keep it like chugging along, right?
Yeah. If new money if loans didn't create new money, then interest rates would have zero effect on the economy.
So when the government spends money, do they technically create new money in that instance, or are they doing something else?
The government creates new money through deficit spending. So obviously when the government taxes, they take money out, right?
Yeah.
So if the government spends $1,000 and taxes $1,000, that's called a balanced budget, right?
Yeah.
So no new money has been added to the economy because they put 1,000. Yeah. They put 1,000 in and they took 1,000 out. But if the government takes 1,000 out in taxes and spends 2,000, which is deficit spending, 1,000 remains in the economy. That's where the dollars come from that circulate in the economy, and it's technically the money supply when it's in cash. They call it M1 or M2. I guess M1 is cash, deposits. I'm shaky on the M1, M2 stuff, but it's basically money in the bank, cash that you can spend.
Yeah.
It doesn't become part of the deficit until they turn it into treasury bonds. The entire deficit is treasury bonds.
Okay. Because I remember having this conversation, and it went into that because I was trying to explain to them, like, when we try to build new government infrastructure, we should build things like new age nuclear reactors, because the newer nuclear reactors are much more efficient and better than the old ones.
Yes, I mean, we should.
Yeah. And they're asking me like, well, where's the money going to come from? And what are you going to do when those things blow up? And I'm like, first off, I should have made this argument. Newer reactors have multiple redundancies put into them. And we got people trying to make even smaller ones that are more mobile and shit. You know, people are trying to do new things with nuclear reactors. And I really do think it's an important energy resource to invest in. You know, there are a lot of things that we really need to start like investing in. We need to start being able to make our own chips. You know, we can't rely on Taiwan. That's a horror show waiting to happen. You know, and I think as long as we're careful with the budgeting, you know, we can have the government put money into this kind of stuff. We just have to be careful. Like I remember you mentioning like how there's people that their whole job is just taking money from the government and just taking advantage of the spending that the dumb money the government puts on the table.
Yeah, I
people
fucking
abuse.
hate those people, but
yeah, I remember you had like a friend that does that or something. So, but yeah, I want to invest in more infrastructure in chips and like chip factories and stuff that we rely on for the economy to function.
People don't perceive of money as an incentive structure. I don't know how to really change that. But I mean, if you have 10,000 young people that want to work, right? Yeah. That's like a real resource. You can do a lot with that. Obviously, you can build bridges, you can build buildings, you can build these nuclear reactors, right?
Build robots to do all the work.
Yeah, whatever, yeah. Right? That resource though, in 10 years they're going to be 30, and another 10 years they're going to be 40. They're getting older. They're tending towards uselessness, empathy, right? So, but if you're saying we shouldn't create an incentive structure that puts those people to work building real resources that will last 100 years, like why?
Yeah.
What the fuck? You're basically saying, let's let that resource spoil because we're unhappy with the number of zeros in a fucking bank account, which is just, I mean, oh God, it kills me.
But Adam, if we do those kinds of jobs here, then we have to deal with workers' rights and labor laws.
It's lit. Oh, I know.
Yeah.
It's so fucking blue pilled. It's so blue pilled. You're fixated on the thing that doesn't matter. How do you get people to focus on that's the one thing the MMT people say that completely makes sense, but it maps over to, it's just basic economics. It maps over to neoclassical economics, which is what everyone knows. Real resources is what it takes to build things.
And when you don't take care of that kind of blue collar working class, they start to atrophy. Like, I remember one of the points Sargon made about the Chinese, like factory jobs. Like, the reason why we don't have many factory jobs here is that they don't think there's enough people that know how to do that kind of work in those factories, that have the skills or the ability to do it. So you're really letting a very high potential resource going to waste, you know?
Yeah. If we could just talk about it in those terms, in terms of waste.
Yeah.
I think a lot more people on the
potential
right,
investment and such.
but people on the right do constantly talk about malinvestment. They would rather not put those 10,000 people to work if they were going to do something that was malinvestment is a problem. So I don't disagree that you want to put them to work doing something useful and what is useful.
Though.
Yeah, because this is
ditch digging, you know, like you've made that point before.
China has run into this problem. They built a bunch of real estate that nobody needs or wants because that's their investment vehicle.
Or they paint their mountains green to pretend they're ecologically friendly.
Yeah, they do that. They do that.
Or put up fake birds because they ate all the birds in their cities.
Malinvestment is a problem, but I wish we could get past the. I wish we could just have a conversation that acknowledges malinvestment is a problem. But so many times people on the right, they just seem to think we shouldn't do anything. Like the malinvestment problem is really just brought up to stop the conversation about doing anything.
I think a problem with the basic, the worker is that they don't seem to understand that we don't live in a type of economy where you can just like work, get money, and then start a business, and then with like one job and just go that direction. It's like, no, we're in a situation where it's better to use that money and invest it into things and like grow it. You know, you can't just have, one person working one job and they make enough money from that one job, they can just start a business. No, you need to start rolling that cash into other things and making it into bigger. You don't have to use physical labor as a means to get money all the time, because people, you can only get so much out of your body until you start.
Are you talking about like passive income? Is that what you're talking about? Or
I think people just have a problem with like long-term investing in themselves. They think you can just work your way out of poverty. And I'm like, that's not how it works anymore, especially with how expensive housing is and stuff like that. You need to start investing in things that will get you money, quicker without having to rely on your body. My sister, she'll work multiple jobs, and her husband's a nurse, and they were still not making enough money, which is not good. And if they're making that money and they're not making enough from putting it back into like their home and stuff like that, they need to start looking at a way where they can get more out of it and find other more like, I guess, investor or creative ways to make more money than just using your body. Because eventually you can't just keep working. You can't just work your whole life physically. Something's going to come up. Do you invest in the stock market or crypto or anything? I have a Robinhood account. That's okay. I try to get on the GameStop thing, but I wasn't quick enough. Okay. Yeah. I wish I got into that sooner, but right now I've been looking at Take-Two because Grand Theft Auto 6 is going to come out soon. So,
well, I only asked because you are talking about investing. So I didn't know if you.
well, investing doesn't just have to be like
You should
stock
get
market.
you should get a Roth IRA. All of you listening should have a Roth IRA. You should get one as soon as you can. I guess part of the Trump tax bill, they're going to give $1,000 accounts to children, which is great because obviously it would get them interested in investing early. They would have 18 years before they're even adults. So, and that compounding investment for 18 years is great. But a Roth IRA is an IRA that you take out, and as the principal grows, you don't have to pay taxes. You don't get to take the money out till you retire. Well, there's some rules. I think you can take the money out if you're going to college or you're buying a house.
Oh.
So, but when you might have to pay taxes if you take it out when you're buying a house.
I was wondering what the difference between that and a 401k was.
But when you take money out of your Roth IRA, you don't have to pay taxes. So if you open a Roth IRA and you put $1,000 in and you hit the big time, right? You invest in some Bitcoin ETF and Bitcoin goes up to $10 billion, right? Your $1,000 investment is now worth $10 million, right? When you retire, you can take all that money out tax-free. Yeah. You don't pay taxes on that money. So literally you've made $10 million. You're not paying any taxes on it. Chances are that's not going to happen for you. I mean, I would suggest if you're starting young, you just invest in something that mirrors the S&P 500. The VOO is a ticker for one of them. The Vanguard one. There's a bunch of them you can look at. So, but
okay.
I see
ready?
Doing one of those is, I mean, everyone should have one.
Just
it's like
I just want to say one more
free
thing.
money from the
one more
tax.
thing.
One more thing, Jackie.
Yeah.
A person commented saying like gambling is not a good alternative compared to with regular work. I get what he's saying, but gambling with the stock market is a bad idea. I'm not just saying you have to just gamble in the stock market. Like if you can like,
it's not gambling, basic, it's investing. Okay.
Yeah, it's investing.
Crypto is gambling.
Yeah, crypto is gambling. But I'm saying like you can just do like picker stuff, like find rare items and try to like sell them and roll them for more money. I mean, you don't have to buy exceedingly rare things. You can build off of that. You can keep rolling that money and try to make it bigger and better over time. It takes time, but doing little side gigs and stuff like that's very beneficial.
No, I agree.
Not physically working all the time.
You gotta have a side hustle.
Yeah.
I mean, I blew my shoulder out drawing.
Yeah, not great. Cosmo for $5. We're talking to Metalworks. We're not talking to Ace. Says he called you Ace. He said, Ace, let's hear your best Alex Jones impression. I don't like them putting chemicals in the water that turn the freaking frogs gay.
Obama, you evil man.
That's pretty good.
That's pretty good. It's pretty close.
Putting chemicals in the water turn the frogs gay.
Mr. Ubercross, thanks so much for $20. Says, I think the claim that the GDP is based on the debt is incorrect. The debt can drive some gap growth, but so can lower taxes and regulations. 30% of debt is owned to foreign entities, so it isn't all going to U.S. citizens.
Well, I said 20 to 30% of the debt is owned by foreign entities. So I said that at the beginning of the exchange. I think your claim that GDP is based on the debt is incorrect. I have not really made that claim. The debt to GDP is what they look at, and they have this metric. You've heard the metric, such debt to GDP, right? Where they look at how big the debt is and how big our GDP is, and they get super freaked out if our debt is bigger than our GDP. And Japan has, I think, 2.5 times debt to their GDP, and their economy is just fine, low inflation, all that good stuff. So I'm not sure why why people are obsessed with this metric. I wish people could make some logical argument why the debt being higher than the GDP is something we should worry about.
Do you think the GDP is an outdated measurement, or?
Well, look, if you buy a house, right? What's your debt to GDP on your house, right? Most people get a 30-year fixed rate mortgage, right?
Yeah,
so
they get a
they're
mortgage.
saying, yeah. So their debt to their income is going to be 30 times, right? So their debt to GDP is 30 times greater. Their debt is 30 times greater than their income. So why is it what the economic value that the United States creates in 1 year, a metric that we should look at for our debt? I guess so we can pay our debt off in a year. Is that what people are thinking?
Well, I assume they're afraid that if the debt is higher than GDP, that means that the fear would be that you'd be unable to pay the debt because it would be rising faster than the money that the country's making.
It would
right?
snowball to a point where it'd be very difficult to pay it off. But you're not
When
really
you're-
supposed to pay it all off, though.
So when you get a mortgage, a 30-year fixed mortgage, are you terrified that you're not going to be able to pay your mortgage?
you
for
gotta
I
the
mean,
next
if you're
year?
not making enough money, right? Depending on what you're making. Like if you're making much less than the interest rate.
They
of
should
your
only
debt.
do mortgages that you can pay off in 1 year.
No. I understand what that. Yeah, but I don't think that's what people are. They're assuming that if the interest rate is above, or I'm sorry, if the debt is above GDP, like if it's just for a year, right? That's not the issue. The issue is if it's continually like.
Well, we don't get
indefinitely,
we don't get a fixed rate national debt, unfortunately, because the Fed changes interest rates for this completely other reason, right? Right? They want to curb the number.
Yeah.
They want to curb the number of loans being put out,
Mm-hmm. Okay.
which is completely different.
Mr. Ubercross for 37 months says you could find the dry right-wing MMT by reading Milton Friedman's concepts on monetarism.
True. Yeah.
There you go. Mitch for 2 Aussie bucks says thoughts on The Promised Neverland and Elfin Lied. So I haven't seen either of those. I know Sam has said that the first season of Promised Neverland is really good and she wants me to watch it. She said the second season's bad. I don't know if she's seen Elfin Lied though. I haven't heard her talk about it.
Elfin Lion is good if you like violence and that kind of like early 2000s edgy anime kind of vibe.
Ooh.
It's still pretty cool, but
I like violence, but I don't like edgy.
I like Hellsing, so I like Hellsing Ultimate, and that's very violent and gory. So
I wouldn't say it's edgy though. I never felt Hellsing was edgy.
No. Well, I mean, you had vampire Nazis invading Britain, and I remember there was a scene where they had a baby in his fucking mouth. So it's a little fucking edgy.
I guess you're right. I don't know. Never like that show. What was that zombie show that everyone liked?
One with the big
or
what was the high school one?
No. There's like this kid, he like goes on a date with some like hot MILF and she's like a vampire or a zombie or something.
Oh god.
And she dies and then he becomes like a vampire or zombie.
Are you talking about Tokyo Ghoul?
Tokyo Ghoul, thank you.
They're not vampires.
That's an edgy
ghouls.
fucking show. Okay.
I watched it.
I watched this show. I'm like, this is too edgy for me. This is ridiculous. Like, it just seems so obviously like edgy, try hard.
My problem with that show is that it gets convoluted.
That too.
It's got that anime convoluted nonsense going on.
Yes.
And some of the animation kind of cheapens at some point. I thought it was pretty neat, but they're not vampires, they're cannibals. But I guess same difference.
Whatever, they're close enough.
Yeah.
I've actually, been watching
the guy got organs from that girl, and that's what made him like a half.
Right.
But he refused to eat for a very long time.
How was that show super edgy? I remember there was a scene where this guy was like whipping a child with a weapon made from like the mother's blood or body or something.
Oh,
and I was
they're cockulin or whatever it's called.
Yeah, and he like I think he kills her or something. I was like, what? I was like, this is ridiculous.
Ghouls have like that organ that like is like a weapon, and different ghouls have different kinds of organ weapons that they have.
Yes,
that they can use, and you can make like material from it, metal from it that can hurt ghouls. So that was a little edgy.
I was like, this is super edgy. Now it's not as edgy as Overlord is the most edgiest trash I've ever seen in my life.
My problem with Overlord is I got bored with it.
It is boring too.
It got boring. I'm like, I really don't care anymore.
Man, Sam, been watching the show. It's it's weird because it's like it's very interesting, but I feel like it's also kind of bad. It's like good and bad at the same time, which is a 2B Hero X, which it's interesting. It kind of jumps between 2D and 3D animation a lot. Like if it's a flashback or if it's someone's internal thoughts, it's 2D, and if it's current time, it's 3D.
I like that.
It has a very interesting world that is very fascinating. Unfortunately, it kind of it's like it's a Chinese anime, so the pacing is very weird. It feels kind of rushed at some parts. And
does it have some of the wushu elements to it?
I don't know what that means.
That's Chinese like fantasy wushu.
No, it's like it's a society where if people put their trust into you, you have like an actual number that like shows how many people trust you, and their trust literally gives you superpowers.
I mean, that sounds like a different flavor of cultivation. So
maybe
it's a lot of animes have that kind of cultivation concept baked into it.
Well, it's kind of interesting coming from China because it's kind of like a democracy element to it. But no, it's interesting. I'm watched. My problem with it though is it's kind of like it keeps like every 3 episodes it changes characters, which is kind of weird. Yeah. And the main character who seems to be the coolest, we're not going to see an episode about him, and he's till like the very end, which is sad. But you know,
I bit the bullet and watched Solo Leveling. I was a little off put by it, but I'm like, because like the main character is like generic black hair kid, so I'm like, oh okay, it's one of those animes.
It's not someone saying it's China with the social media score. The difference, here's where I disagree with you. I don't think it is. I think it's actually it's actually the opposite. It's a little subversive because the government isn't unless we find out later that there's something nefarious. The government isn't controlling the trust score. It's the people that are controlling the trust score. And the people, not only the people's trust give the heroes their power, but the people's perceptions of the heroes affects what their powers are, which is kind of interesting.
Yeah, and if the government's behind it, that's still criticism of the government.
Right. But I'm saying, but so far we haven't got that. So far, it's just been shown that it's like there are nefarious people pulling the strings, but it's just the government. I mean, it's just the people's views are shaping the heroes, which is very anti-centralized power.
I kind of like what the some of the stuff that's going on in Solo Leveling with how he gets stronger and stuff, but it does feel like they're not really taking advantage of like what they can do. I wish the monster design was better, and I wish he had more. There's no tactics in the fights. It just starts becoming like, I don't want to say curb stomp battles, but it gets pretty bad.
Yeah,
in the second season, and I want to like it because it's a neat idea, but the RPG mechanics feel so generic. The way he gets like stats and stuff. His class is pretty fucking cool, but that's the only thing he's got going for him. Mm-hmm. But I like the voice actor. I think it's more of you kind of appreciate the characters more. It's kind of like that One Punch Man effect where like it's not really about Saitama. It's about how people react to him and everyone else. It's about all the other characters and how they react to what he's doing, or it's not about like we know he's going to win the fights. It's just how we get there and what's going on with the other characters. That's how I always view these kinds of animes where the protagonist is really strong.
R worded for $5 is people don't understand that shit. Talking about the economics. It doesn't compete for most people. They just want to work, own a home, retire, and maybe have a few vacations.
And that's not the world anymore, though. Like you can't really. That's the sad reality.
But they want.
You got to do a little more.
They want to.
You got to do a little bit of a side hustle here. You got to start putting money into something that can generate more money.
The thing that triggers me is just the politicians completely fear-mongering people over the national debt. It drives me fucking crazy. It drives me crazy. They
no more of this debt ceiling conversation. It's so fucking dumb.
Well, they parade out. Oh, every single American owes. What's the debt clock say? It's like $200,000. So people
I don't own that much. Get out of here.
I think it is, yeah.
But that's stupid to wait.
So people think, oh my God, the government is going to tax me $200,000. I owe $200,000.
The government's put me in debt. I'm like, what? No.
Yeah. So that's
so silly.
how is that? Not, that's not cool, right? Driving people to an early grave over this shit.
No.
When they're just look, Trump is like, yeah, we're gonna spend $40 billion on a big birthday party for me with the military and shit.
How do you feel about that?
You think he cares? You think he cares?
Do you think that's kind of cringy? I think it's a little cringy to do that.
Do you?
The whole parade stuff.
Let me think. What would Ace say here?
I mean, I remember I was watching Bill Moore talking about that. He doesn't like that idea of like, do we really need to do that? But then Piers Morgan was on. He's like, well, Britain does it. I'm like, yeah, Britain does that kind of shit, but I don't know. We're not imperialistic like Britain was.
Gay Rex Fectum for $5 says, Sitch, what anime should I watch first? Obviously,
Kill la Kill.
Kill la Kill.
Yeah. Look. Oh my God! It's unanimous. Holy shit!
Obviously, Kill la Kill.
Kill la Kill.
Or One Punch Man. The first season.
That's a little.
Watch Kill la Kill with your girlfriend.
If you like, if you like hot ladies, okay, and you're not bothered by sexual things, Kill la Kill. Kill is actually one of the best animes.
And pretend they're of age. Make sure you do that.
That's true too. That's true too. It's an anime. Everyone looks like they're of age. Yeah.
Fine.
But
what about which? Oh God, I can forget the name all of a sudden. The mech anime.
Gurren Lagann.
Yeah. What about Gurren Lagann?
Gurren Lagann. A lot of people like that. That's another good one to start with. It has a very similar energy to Kill la Kill in terms of like the hyper energized, optimistic protagonist.
Yeah.
Or I guess never mind. I mean, the protagonist in Kill la Kill is not optimistic, but just like the hyper aggressive kind of protagonist. One Punch Man's first season is very good.
Yeah. Mob 100 is good.
Mob Psycho is great, but Sam keeps saying that Mob Psycho is not good for first-time anime viewers.
Yeah.
I'll take her word on that one.
I
Death
feel
Note
like you need to build
good.
up to it. Yeah.
It depends what you like. Like if you like action, I'd say like Kill la Kill, Gurren Lagann. If you like more sort of like detective things, I'd say Death Note. If you like comedy, I don't know. I think of a good comedy anime that'd be like
Dr.
good
Stone.
for a first timer. Dr. Stone, I would say, is more like if you like sciencey things.
There's a little bit of comedy there.
There is. It is funny, but it's more like if you like science.
I like science.
Science and rules and all that stuff.
I agree with Full Metal Alchemist. That's a good
Full Metal. Oh, you know what? That's right. Full Metal Alchemist is usually like people's go-to, like Brotherhood.
Both.
That is.
I like
Full
both,
Metal Alchemist.
so.
I think the original one's introduction is better, but then after that,
the original one is very depressing ending. I think.
Yeah, I don't like the ending.
I like the ending of Brotherhood more.
Yeah, what's
very
the original?
More upbeat.
It's
it's more based on the manga. Yeah.
Yes. Full Metal Alchemist is like the classic first time anime that people point to, probably for a good reason. So,
once you build up your anime tolerance, I really would recommend reading Berserk. I love Berserk so much. I need to start reading it again. They're still continuing it, even though the creator passed away. So
I think it's like
turns out.
Like a lot of the good funny animes kind of rely on tropes of understanding other anime. So I can't think of like what's a good comedy anime to start with.
A lot of them also, don't they rely on kind of a bit of fan service? That's always been a thing that bothered me about anime.
There's nothing wrong with fan service.
I feel like my problem with fan service is if the whole vibe of it is supposed to be like Ichi, I don't have a problem with it, but I don't like seeing it in My Hero Academia. I think it's a little weird.
I think you're woke. This is woke.
No.
This is wokeness invading our anime. Okay?
No, I just feel like it's just basically saying that I, as a man, can't watch something without having tits flash in my face every time.
I want tits flashing around.
I don't want it all the time. Sometimes I want something,
Look at Dan to
cold
Dan.
and depressing.
Super good.
Yeah, I need to watch that one next.
Dan to Dan's great. That's another one. Dan to Dan's a great one. Okay.
I want something cold and depressing like the Berserk once in a while because it gives you contrast. Sometimes you can't always watch happy-go-lucky things. You need that contrast to appreciate the good.
Stalag for 2 hours says the best anime is Teen Titans. There you go.
Yes.
Lucifer Delman for 2 Canadians says Hellsing Ultimate for the win. I like Hellsing Ultimate a lot. I don't think I'd recommend it as like someone's first anime, but Sammy says Spy Family. Spy Family is a good first time anime, probably. That's a good comedy. That's a good comedy for it's the first time.
What about Lucky Star?
I've never seen that.
That's more slice of life. It's a little more laid back, but there's pretty good jokes in it.
I'd actually even say if you like superheroes, My Hero Academia is like a good
Yeah.
first time anime to watch.
I'm trying to remember another one. It was another kind of goofy slice of life, but that one was a really goofy comedy.
I don't think slice of lives are good for first time viewers.
Yeah, but this one, the one I'm thinking of, is a slice of life, but there's a lot more comedy in it, so it would probably be better than Lucky Star because there's lots of weird shit that goes on to it. I know there's like the girl that just keeps shooting this one guy. He never really dies. It gets like over the top. A lot of slapstick comedy. So
I don't think
I don't remember the name of it though. I know this one girl, she had like pigtails and she had like cubes on her pigtails.
I'm sure Sam knows what that one is.
Yeah. Lucky Star. I know it's Moe, Sammy, but it's not that bad.
Oh, Hunter Hunter. Yeah. Hunter Hunter is a great, if you like action, like a kind of a action series. Hunter Hunter is one of my favorites. It's definitely a great anime.
I've tried Sitch. I can't.
Wow.
It's too,
Get
it,
out.
it feels so slow.
The first
I should try
episode, the first couple episodes are a little slow. I agree with that.
I don't mind slow burns. I should try it again.
I think it's fantastic.
You know what's
rule oriented? Like they explain the rules of things a lot, which I, as an autist, like.
Yeah. Getting a little sidetracked here. If you like animation in general, go watch Gendy Tartakovsky's Primal. It's so fucking good. It's a really, it's
That's
like
the caveman one. Yeah.
Yes, it's like someone took like that kind of like 70s Pulp Fiction comic book, like Conan-esque comic book, and made it an animated series. It's so gory and actiony. Ab would fucking love it. The caveman spear just goes. There's such good episodes where he just goes ape shit and just tears shit apart. It's so good.
Well, that's what Gendy Tartakovsky's talent is making very good action sequences.
And the best part about it, there's no talking and it's not needed because he's able to convey everything in the scene with just visuals. I think there is this point where the next season does have characters that talk, but it's not necessary. It's not necessary. It's just, it doesn't get in the way of the show. If anything, it just adds to it because it's such a good show. I really recommend Primal. I wish we had more animated series like that in the West. It sucks so much because there's such a writing dynamic difference between Western media and Eastern media. And as much as I like anime, I want more Western cartoon shows that dabble in this stuff, that aren't just straight up comedies. That could be action and mystery.
Sure.
A good animated series I watched that I think was really good is Side Effects Not Included. That is a very good criticism on healthcare and not in the generic all health companies are bad. No, it's critical of everyone, which I think is refreshing. More critical of people, if anything.
Our worded for $5 says you guys are too smart and don't get it. People rather work in the fields all day and go home like in feudalism. There you go.
But that's the problem. We're getting to a point where that's getting less and less viable, especially if automation takes hold.
100%. Yeah. Harrison Dill for $5 says, I like Blood of Zeus is a good Netflix cartoon. Don't know if it's an anime. I haven't seen it. So
we're going to get it back to the point where we're going to have to bring back Coliseums and shit to get people to get their anger out.
Memes Brand for $2 says, I disagree. I'm an anime hater and I love Mob Psycho. Well, there you go. That's great. Mob Psycho. That's definitely one of my favorite top tier animes. And also, Mob Psycho season 2, maybe one of the best anime openings. Top 5. Fantastic.
I like the music in that anime.
That's very good.
I think Jujutsu Kaisen's pretty good.
Yeah.
I was reading it. I was trying to catch up with it.
The end seemed kind of silly. I haven't read it. She didn't see how it happened in the end. The end seems kind of underwhelming to me. But
what anime?
Jujutsu Kaisen.
Oh, you know how it ends?
I know how it ends.
Oh shit, I don't know how it ends. Don't spoil.
I won't tell you. It seemed a little underwhelming to me, honestly.
Shit. I heard it wasn't. I heard he kind of fucked up the landing. What is with these animes fucking up the landing, man?
That always happens, it seems. Yeah.
They gotta start their story from the ending and work their way up. I always think that's a good idea. Whenever I come up with stories in my head,
it's great.
I always either built around a certain scene that I like, or I try to come up with how it's going to end.
Yep.
Because all things come to an ending at some point. You can't just keep going forever.
You got to think what is going to be the best, most satisfying, most crazy ending.
Yeah.
Right.
I also like it when stuff starts in the middle of things and not tries to like explain everything or do info dumps.
Yeah.
I hate that shit. Even though I have a bit of a tolerance for it, sometimes I'm just not in the mood for it.
No.
Arithmus for $2 says, isn't lending the best mechanism for growing the money supply because it directly interfaces with the activity in the economy? Government obviously needs to be able to spend, but lending is an indicator of economic strength or economic growth.
Yeah, I do. I think lending is a great mechanism. The problem is people do have a propensity to save. People want to set aside money for a rainy day. So obviously you can't borrow money to set it aside for a rainy day. It's always destined to be paid back. So how are you going to get money into the economy that people can just hoard, hang on to? Deficit spending.
There you go. Well, thank you guys for coming. Thank you for your incredibly generous donations. Thank you, Metalworks, for coming on talking to us.
Thanks
Yeah,
for
this was
inviting
great.
me.
This was a lot of fun.
Thanks for letting me come on, man.
Of course. We'll be streaming again on How to Kill a Franchise
On Thursday.
Thursday for the dramatic conclusion, or at least we think.
Conclusion? Maybe.
The maybe dramatic conclusion to the now 3-shot D&D campaign with me, Adam, J-Mac, Rags, and Short Flat Otaku.
Should be a lot of fun.
Trebacious T for €2 says, watch Thunderbolt Fantasy Puppet Kino Incarnate. There you go. Well, thank you for that. And thank you for coming. And we'll see you all on Thursday.
Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye.
Okay. Beautiful. Wonderful.